What's up? How's it going, everybody? Good Sunday evening to all of you. Lovely to see you as always. I appreciate you all being here for this final show and tell of 2023. And as I mentioned in the description, for those of you who haven't read it, which is probably most of you, I wanted to do something a little bit different for the last show and tell of the year. And that is why I have Jeremy Buzash here to show us a little bit and talk to us a little bit about his collecting of original video game art rather than comic book art. But for those of you, which is, of course, most of you who are specifically or only into comic book art, I just want to let you know before you go running off that there is some crossover. Not only do, of course, a lot of comic book fans play video games, but as part of the show and tell, some of the pieces that we're going to show tonight do have also crossover in the sense that some of them are done by comic book artists and some of them contain comic book superhero characters. So, yeah. So you'll enjoy it nonetheless, regardless of whether you are or not a video game fanatic. So real quick, before I get to the comments, which thank you very much, there's tons of them. I'm going to have to blast through them, but I just wanted to say, first of all, shout out to my newest subs. Mike Snitzer, let's see if you're here. I'll check soon. Mike Snitzer's friend, Thomas. I wrote it that way because if I just said Thomas, well, everybody's going to think, who the hell's Thomas? So Thomas was here last week, and he was invited by Mike Snitzer, and so I wanted to say hello to you, Thomas. Thank you very much. Chris Tong, likewise, and Carl Choi. What's up? Been a minute, Carl. And of course, a couple of anonymous people whose names I didn't get to see. So thank you all. I appreciate it. And 9 more to 500. So if you enjoy what you see, please feel free to subscribe. At the very least, please give us a thumbs up. Would really appreciate that. Okay. Before I jump into the chat, I just wanted to real quick. Actually, I got to jump into the chat anyways. I wanted to just let you all know that our friend Carl Sodergren, I don't know if you're here because I haven't looked through the chat yet. But Carl has put out, I should say, 3, not 1, not 2, but count them 3 unboxing videos this week. Not even all original art. 1 is original art. 2 are for action figures, which he also collects. And so this link I'm putting into the chat for you guys is, rather than a direct link to any one video, this page will show you the 3 latest videos from left to right. Those are the latest 3 that came out this week. And so you can watch whatever ones you want. They're all very short, so it's good fun. So check it out. And he could use the help. Give him a sub if you enjoy watching unboxing videos. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. So there you go. So there you go. I can see your comment because it's the most recent one. What's up, Carl? You're very welcome, my friend. Very welcome. Oh, look at that. Cobby just subbed to you. Awesome. What's up, Cobby? And okay, let's see who's here real quick. Southern Comic Geek, you were here earlier. I know that. Jason Lywig. What do you mean? Can't stay long tonight. Wanted to get my like in. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jason. Number 1 Marvel fan. What is up? What is up? Between the painting and the Game Boy box art in the transparent background, the thumbnail alone is tickling my gamer nostalgia funny bone. Looking forward to this topic. Thanks for covering it. Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Like I said, I want to do something different for this last one of the year. So, but without straying too far, you know? So, my lovely wife, Vivian, how are you? Good to see you. Supporting as usual. Thank you so much. Marcus, what is up, sir? Holy grails for a generation of gamers. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Good to see you. Hello. Good evening, CJ. The Rickster, what is up? What is up? Greetings to you, Jeff. Good to see you. And time for a home haircut. Don't get me laughing for the next half hour. Good luck with that, my friend. Good luck. Hey, you know I cut my own hair, so I'm with you. I know all about that. You got to be careful. But at least you got your wife doing it for you. I do it myself. So that's funny. Oh, my lovely wife. The first one to welcome my guest, Jeremy. Look at that. Hey. I'm ashamed of the rest of you. I'm ashamed of the rest of you that my wife, the only non-comic fan, non-collector here who just comes in to support, is the first to be gracious to the guest. I mean, come on, guys. Very disappointing. But thanks, hon. I appreciate it. Kabi, hello to everybody. Fun topic tonight. I do think so. So I think we're gonna have some fun. Love some big art. You'll see some big art. Look at that. Yeah, that painting has me all kinds of jealous. And Kabi's asking, is that reverse from a tease for a new piece, Ruben? It is not. Look, I'm just gonna admit the truth. You know, when I do my thumbnails, for me, it's all about it's all pieces of art, right? So even the thumbnail is art. So I gotta balance the composition. So since Jeremy was doing what he was doing on the left side, I felt like, well, I gotta do something similar on the right side. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna hold up a big framed piece like he is. But since I don't have video game art, it made no sense to show you the actual painting. So I had to flip it around. And I figured at the same time that would make you guys wonder, oh, does he have video game art too? You know. So that's the reason for that. So no, that was just part of, balancing the composition and nothing else. Hey, what is up, Carlos? Good to see you back, man. Is PPP a bot? What's PPP? What am I missing here? PPP? Oh, panels, pages, pixels. That's coffee, man. You know that's not a bot. Hey, good to see you, Kenneth Bird. Good to see you. Hello to you, my friend. John Brown, as always, good evening to you. And, oh, Karen, the only collecting female here tonight. And the video, a comic art collector, comic book collector, and a gamer. In a family of gamers. So very awesome. Good to see you, Karen. Thank you for dropping in. Very, very cool. And who else we got? Number one Marvel fan. Anyone got some cast today cover art? I don't know what you're going off topic there. Okay, hellos. Ruben, it was a video game cover. Hey, Hart, what's up? My new follower on Instagram. What's up, dude? I didn't even know you were on Instagram. I followed you back, by the way. Hello. And there we go. The second hello, literal to Jeremy. So the first one that's not my wife. That's pretty sweet. So thank you, Hart. I appreciate it. Yeah, at least a couple of you are making Jeremy feel welcome. Okay, now you're talking to each other. Okay, let me see. Let me try to skip a few here, although I am catching up. Yes, I know you are. And yes, everybody, please, thank you, CJ. If you're watching, please, it doesn't take any trouble at all. It's just one click. If you can see that thumbs up icon right below the screen, right here somewhere, I think somewhere in this area, you can just please click it. I'd appreciate it. I don't get any money out of it. All right. It's just the more interaction there is with the video, YouTube might decide, or the algorithm might decide to push the video out to in front of a few more people. That's it. So I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. Marcus, yes, Carl is an unboxing storm right now, especially this week. Exactly. He's ramping it up, man. So I know you will get your 500 sub count or go this year. I don't know about this year, Kenneth. I know happy 500 for you. I know you will get it. Well, I appreciate you being so optimistic, but at the rate that I go, I have my doubts. But I appreciate the optimism. Thank you. I appreciate that. Who else we got? Okay. Hey, CJ, thank you for subbing Carl's channel. Really appreciate that. I predict an evening of man. Why didn't I think to go after that from the chat crew? I think so too. And I wish I had that, and other variations thereof. Mohawk for Jeff. He should get one. I'm actually sporting a mohawk, everybody. We talked about that like a few months ago. You can't see it, but I don't know. Can you see it? I didn't finish shaving the back, so I just kind of shaved it into a mohawk. So what else we got? I don't agree. That's true. I made the mistake. I made the mistake of forgetting that. Yeah, you probably want to wait until Jeremy hits the screen to say hello. Okay, I got it. Okay, so what else we got? Oh, yeah. Hey, Carl, I don't know if you were here, but I shouted you out as one of my new subs. Good to see you. Been a minute. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. And Comic Art Boston, apologies, I have something to take care of and just dropping by to register my like. I appreciate it, Cab, as always. We'll catch the show on Rewind. Jeremy's gallery is indeed one of the more unusual and interesting ones on CAF. Lovely. I appreciate that, Cab. Thank you. And Karen is the trifecta indeed. So, hey, Carl, hey, Cab, what else we got? Hey, Dan Maresca. Hey, everybody. Look at that. Look at that. What's up, Dan? And hellos back and forth. Okay, that's good. I can skip all those. And oh, so somebody just subbed then because it was 9 before the show. So okay, 8 more. Thank you, Comic Art Boston. Thank you, I appreciate it. A faux hawk, yeah. Depends how you look at it. Depends how you define mohawk, right? John Reagan's cut, nice. And hello there, Vivian. Okay, excellent. So, let me quickly check to see if there's anything else I just needed to shout out. So we got the subs. Got Carl, and in the middle of the show, I'll do the Nikki B promo as usual. And Karen's got no new vids this week. So hopefully this upcoming week, Karen. Yeah, we'll see. So I think that's it, everyone. And yeah, while we have taken care of that, yes, let me bring in my awesome guest for this evening, Jeremy Buzash. Here we go. What is up,
Hi.
sir? I know that was long, and I apologize, but I appreciate the patience back there in the green room. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you for being
My
here.
reputation precedes me. Yes.
Yeah. Well, apparently, with only 2 people so far saying hello to you directly, apparently in this hobby you don't have much of a reputation just yet. You know,
We'll get to know each other.
we'll get to know each other. There we go.
Time.
That's what I'm hoping for. Okay, excellent. But yeah, man, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see here. Hold on, everyone. I'm going to catch up to the live chat here so I don't fall behind.
Hey, Dan.
Let's see. Okay, there you go. That's good that Jeremy, you can follow along with the chats because I always fall behind, and at least that way you can sort of jump in and stay up, look at it yourself and stay sort of up to date, There we go. Now CJ's doing the good evening, Jeremy. Excellent. Okay. Karen, in a few weeks, working on a big video. Wow, sounds very interesting. Wow, a few weeks? That's a pretty big video if it's going to take weeks. Wow. Okay, there we go. Now people are jumping in. Okay, I'll post them up. Even if Jeremy's already said hello to you, I'll keep posting them. What's up from Dan? There we go. The Rickster. Hello, Jeremy. Comic Art Boston. Hello, Jeremy. There we go. What's up, Jeremy? Love your. There we go. Look at that. And that's why you had to show it to her.
Nintendo New York. Yeah.
Very cool. Karen's page is big as in big box. Oh, okay. You'll find out in a few weeks, I guess. Jeremy did indeed speak in class today. I don't know if anybody gets that. You did that last time, and I seem to be the only one who caught on to what you were doing, Marcus. But musical reference for those of you who don't know, everyone. Yeah, there you see. You'll see, CJ. Patience. All right, everybody, let's get into this. Jeremy, what I would love to do to start off the show before we get into the show and tell, especially since you are, I was going to say primary. I'm not even sure. Do you clearly have owned comic book art. Do you collect comic book art anymore?
Well, I started collecting comics in high school. And I don't think I got my first piece of art until 2019. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty recent.
But does that apply only to the comic book art or also the video game art?
Both. Yeah,
what?
I did acquire some comic book art kind of as I was going, but yeah, game art was my first stuff. Yeah.
And it's only been no earlier than 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I did not. Yeah. Okay, this makes tonight all the more exciting and more impressive because holy shit, you've been going gangbusters. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So how about then in that case, now that we kind of know a little bit about what you started buying and when you started buying, maybe give us a little bit of background on how you discovered comics. You did mention it was not until high school, which is later than most, which is also kind of an interesting thing because most of us, it's when we're kids, right? Younger kids. And yeah, just kind of like from there, let us know, give us a little bit of info of, did you collect? Were you just reading or reading and collecting, and how that kind of ultimately led to, discovering the art and getting into it,
Yeah. So I was born in '87, so it's kind of great prime time for video games growing up in that era. I guess my main exposure to comic stuff was through the animated series in the mid '90s, like X-Men and Spider-Man.
Right.
So that stuff kind of, and the video games actually, that kind of stuff got me into the comic properties. I never really read comic books growing up. I didn't have any friends that read them either, but everyone played video games. So that was kind of, my circle growing up. I think probably what started me in collecting would have been Pokemon cards when they hit the school playground. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me and my buddies were all like binder kids. We had binders of cards.
The binders. Yeah.
Yeah.
What age would you have been when you started with the Pokemon cards?
I think they came out in '99. So
were they that late? I thought they were a little earlier than that. Yeah, 99.
I think so. Something like that. Yeah, the American cards. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would have been, 10, 11 when they came out.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I think that spurred on the collector in me, probably. We were always after, we never played the game. We watched the show, played the Game Boy game, but the cards we were just like, collecting and keeping pristine in our binders. So
yeah, because
like, the kid on the playground with the cards that are like in a, elastic band, you're like, oh, stay away from me.
Yeah. What's that? Oh,
we don't want that crap. Yeah.
Look at this loser, Yeah.
So I think it was maybe my later years in high school when I started taking a liking to Silver Age Spider-Man comics. So I kind of started saving up allowance and stuff like that to buy those kinds of things. And actually, my teacher in high school was Dwight Furo. So
come on!
Obviously know this.
Oh my god!
He taught in my high school. So I remember once the computer science teacher was like, "Oh, you're interested in comics? You should talk to Dwight about this, Mr. Furo. You should talk to Mr. Furo."
Oh shit! Oh my god, that's crazy. So everybody, just so you know, obviously this doesn't mean anything to you. So some of you know that I am also into collecting vintage paperback novel cover art, which goes hand in hand with vintage pulp magazine art. And the gentleman that Jeremy is talking about is like the most world-renowned collector of vintage shadow artwork and other related collectibles to the shadow. And he is fellow Canadian from the province of Saskatchewan. And I've always known that Dwight, was a teacher, but to be honest, I always thought he was just like a volleyball, because he always posts online about his volleyball girl teams winning championships and or whatever. Yeah. But I wasn't aware that he was teaching whatever. What was he teaching?
I don't know. I never actually had classes with him.
Oh, you never actually had him?
Okay. He was just a teacher at
high school. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember taking my a stack of vintage comics that I'd bought, and he's like, "Okay, this is how you grade them," and blah blah blah. And he kind of introduced me to that world. Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy! Wow, what a small world. So crazy. and just so the rest of you watching, sort of also understand what a small world this is, and the hobby and how it brings a lot of us together. I also want you to sort of have an understanding of who Jeremy is in a different way. So those of you who saw my original comic art unboxing. I believe it was number 5 a few weeks ago, where I showed you this piece. Here, let me show it. I set it up for us.
Nice.
I showed you guys this. Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
That awesome pinup by Tom Grummett from the Spectacular Spider-Man from 1995. Okay, so I unboxed that one. So I told the story of, you know, how the piece sort of came to me, and that somebody had reached out to me. Well, that person who reached out to me was Jeremy. So
I found it. Yeah.
And then of course, you know, once we did our quick deal, it was one of the quickest deals ever, which is always awesome. And then we found out, of course, and having to exchange addresses, it was like, oh, you're Canadian?
Oh, you're Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada too? Oh, wow, awesome. So awesome how these things happen, right? Like it's just so cool. And now to know that you have a connection to this other collector because he was a teacher at your school in high school. That's so wild, man. So very, very cool. Funny. So okay. And so from there, you started buying comics, but to read, not to collect, right?
To collect. Oh. I did read them like I would read every vintage issue I bought, but I had a rail on my wall and I would just display them, and I just loved the art. That's kind of what connected me to them, was the art side of it. I love the artwork.
Okay. Kavi, Mr. Panels, Pages, and Pixels, who's also doing video game related stuff on his channel. And his channel, by the way, everybody, if you want to check it out, is Panels, Pages, Pixels. So yeah, he's got the name. He's spying a Maximum Carnage image in the back, he said.
Let me just turn this just a little bit here.
There you go.
There's a whole wall of stuff back there.
Oh, look at that.
Carnage.
Okay.
Big pros, prototype box, store displays, film reel from the commercial. Lots of crazy stuff. Yeah.
So cool. Comic Art Boston, I'm assuming you heard me, but the province of Saskatchewan. And if Jeremy wants to say the city, it's up to him. But
yeah, I was born in Regina.
Regina? Okay. Yeah. Cool. Knights of Old, what's up? Good to see you, sir. He does indeed he is the owner of the Creeping Death cover. Yes, one of the
I have
coolest.
Gazed at it many times in person at his house.
There you go. Lucky you, man. Lucky you. Yes, that's the gentleman who has it. So that's so awesome. Carl says, along those lines, my elementary school art teacher was apparently huge in the Phantom community. Really? Okay, that's so cool. It's interesting. Marcus says, Saskatchewan is famous for sealskin strap. What? Now you got to know, Jeremy. No Marcus he's quite the joker. So, but he's also a good knowledge dropper. So some of the times he says things we think it's funny, but he's actually being serious and it's good knowledge. Other times it's jokes which are funny, and other times it's jokes which are just sort of going over our heads. So it's hard to say, Marcus, on that one what you're saying. What's up, Hoarder Side? Good to see you. Let me see. Okay. Hi, Scott. Kavi also says, so, been looking to get a published video game piece, but haven't yet myself. Closest I've gotten is a Sonic the Hedgehog published comic art page. Okay.
Yeah.
That's sort of halfway there, so that's kind of cool. Page panels, are you part of the original? Dan is asking Kavi. Okay, part of the original video game art Facebook group if you hang around. Oh, you must be talking about the group that you're a part of as well,
yes.
Jeremy. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's a Super Dave reference. Is that what you meant? Okay, Super Dave Osborne. There's a Canadian. Dan says, yeah, it is beautiful for sure. That's private. So Marcus is just plain strapped. Marcus does keep us on our toes.
And I just post stuff on CAF and like, okay, when's the Marcus comment coming? I always
yeah. right. Well, you know about that, right? So
yeah,
for sure. Okay, so you started collecting, Spidey. So with the comics, how far did you actually get in terms of collecting? How big of a collection did you build?
Not super huge. It was just kind of curated keys that appealed to me from an art perspective.
Oh, you're just getting keys. Okay.
Just keys. Yeah. I wasn't interested in runs or anything like that. I was, in high school. And I mean, I did have a job. I played in an orchestra. So I was, making some money. But still, vintage comics are expensive.
Of course. Absolutely. And speaking of playing in orchestras, you still play in an orchestra.
Yeah, I'm a musician.
Is that what you do for a living?
Violinist. Yeah, I'm a violinist. Yeah.
And that's your profession?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because you guys should. Well, you don't have to know, but I'll mention anyways that when Jeremy and I did that transaction for the Grummet piece, not only did he get it out super quick the same day, right? I paid him the same day. He sent it the same day. But he made the effort because he was going to be leaving town for a few days for over the week, like a 4-day weekend or whatever, because he was going to play. And I never did ask him at the time, oh, is this something you do on the side or is it your profession? And I didn't want to sort of butt in too much, but I figured since you brought it up, I'd ask you now, so that's really awesome that you do it as a profession. So that's fantastic, man. That's so cool. Do you guys play only within Canada, or do you travel around? Do you leave the country to play?
I mean, I've done concerts in countries, but mostly Canada.
Mostly Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
I tend to frequent Winnipeg a lot. I used to live there, and I was principal second violin of the Winnipeg Symphony for many years. So I tend to go back there and play with them. Yeah.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, because not many people get to play in the symphony for their I guess each province probably has one, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. And so that's man. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to be able to play in the symphony in their where they live, right? So
it's competitive.
It's competitive, right? Exactly. So good on you, my friend. Good on you, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. So let me see. So what is Comic Art Boston just wants to know, what is your favorite issue of Spidey, if you have one?
Well, the cover that first attracted me was ASM 40, the Green Goblin cover.
Oh yeah.
So 39 and 40.
39 and 40.
Yeah.
Both of them a 2-part classic for sure. So that's not a bad way to go.
I love that Romita art.
Yeah.
The ASM 40 was the first. I remember that was the first comic I saved up for because it was at the Batman comic shop in the glass.
Oh yeah,
it was like $100. I'm like, I'm gonna save up for that one.
I'm only laughing because I can relate. I think a lot of us can relate to that. Like the days where oh my god, I've got to save up for that. I remember the days when I'm older than you by 13 years. 17 years. But I remember having to save up for like $5 and $10 comics. You know what I mean? So it was like I started in the days of 60-cent cover price, right? So for me, it's like, wow, $5. That's like holy crap! Like what?
Wow, yeah.
Compared to 60 cents, right? It's like wow.
Yeah. God, I wasn't interested in the new stuff. I was just like the art just didn't appeal to me as much.
Really?
I'm going to the 60s.
Just straight to the 60s. That's awesome.
Yeah, straight to the 60s. Yeah.
That's it. It is. That's exactly the one. Yeah, Spidey saves the day. Yeah, so cool. He did mention, by the way, that he sees a guitar back there. So you play more than just violin? Sorry, is it violin that you play?
Violin, yeah. I've been playing violin since I was about 3.
Wow.
I also play piano and guitar is more recent, but yeah.
Okay. Were you, by any chance, a prodigy? Or you just started learning at 3?
I mean, I was one of those weird kids that wanted to do it. So my parents were like, okay. And my dad's side of my family's musicians.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was,
nice.
I won a lot of scholarships when I was young. But
nice.
I don't think I really took it seriously until I was maybe 12, 13. Then, that's when I kind of fell in love with it.
Right. And started cracking down and really
Yeah.
wanting to get good, right? As good as you could get, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
He says, i.e., a prodigy. Well, okay.
Kids,
I mean, because I know
to it.
I know that you would want to be modest, understandably. Let me rephrase the question. In your youth, as you got started, do you remember either people around you or maybe the newspaper locally, whatever, did people refer to you as the local prodigy? Okay.
I mean, it's so long ago, I don't remember, but I mean, I was such a young tyke when I started. But again, just one of those weird kids that was like, I want to do this, and never had to force me.
No, that's it. Passion, right? Supreme passion.
And I taught for many years. I taught kids as young as 3.
Oh yeah.
And some kids they just take to it more than others, and
that's it.
Yeah, it's very personal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, number one Marvel fan, exactly. Had to say for The Dark Knight Returns because the first one sold out, and when they had a copy, they wanted $25. Drove me nuts. You missed out. You snooze, you lose. That's what. And then they jack you up. Exactly. Oh, come on, Cab. I'm not embarrassing him. You know what? Maybe I am, but I'm not trying to. We just want to get to know him a little bit. No, he's thinking, no, please, just go on. That's okay. Go on. But yeah, do go on. Yes. Oh, that's too much. Oh, but do go on. Very prodigious. Yes, for sure. I remember splurging a crazy high amount, $8 for that GL issue that tied into the reign of Superman. That's exactly. So everybody can relate to that kind of thing, So for sure. All right, Jeremy. So you started collecting then, but so how do you bridge the gap between those days to 2019 when you're significantly older? Like, did you stop in between, or did you kind of continue?
Mm-hmm. No, I did stop. When I went into university, I did an undergraduate and master's degree, and didn't really have the means to kind of pursue collecting at that point. But I think it was the Marvel movies actually that kind of reignited that interest. It was the Avengers movie specifically.
Wow.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember when I saw that, I was like, I had loved the kind of cosmic Marvel stuff when I was a kid. So when that movie came out, I was just like, oh, I need to get some more comics. So yeah,
that's funny.
So that kind of started me back on the path. Yeah. I sort of switched to video games around 2014, 2015. I started collecting games.
Now collecting games or buying them to play, like other.
No, like buying mint condition retro games, Super Nintendo games. Yeah. That was my focus, was Super Nintendo. So I would buy complete in box mint as much as I could find.
Yeah.
And I sold a lot of my comics to kind of buy that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so that's about 215. Okay. How do we now suddenly, before you talk about how you got into discovered the video game art, what's the first type of art that you actually purchased? Was it comic book art?
No, it was a Super Nintendo cover.
So
I had the bridge in between the bridge in between games, and that was sealed games. So kind of a more, a higher tier of just than CIB.
Okay.
And a friend in Vancouver, I had a rare sealed Canadian variant of Super Metroid. There's not a lot of them. And there's a guy in Vancouver who collects Canadian variants. So he also has a large collection of game art. And he's like, hey, let's do a trade, with some cash, and you can get yourself a painting. And I was just like, I'd never thought of it before. I mean, I'd kind of come across some of, I think, Dan, I don't know if Dan's still in here, Dan Maresca, he had posted there was some stuff out there about game art, and I had come across it maybe a couple of years earlier. So it was kind of, the thought was in my mind. I knew it existed.
Right.
But it was kind of
not something you ever. It's not just,
it's not something
you were aware of it, but it's not something that you ever considered as I'll get into that or whatever, right?
Yeah. And I remember I started talking with this guy, and he sent me photos of some of his collection and some really heavy hitting paintings.
Okay.
Like King of Dragons, Julie Bell's painting. And I was just like, oh my God, didn't sleep a wink that night. It was just like, I was so excited about it. And so we made the deal happen. I got the painting a week later, and I opened it up, and I was like, oh crap. This is Dan. Yeah, this was Rap Jam on Super Nintendo, a nothing title. but a really great like 90s looking airbrush painting.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe of it. And I was like, okay, this is how it's going to go. The games are.
Yeah.
And now it's
the rabbit hole has opened up in front of me, and
now
I'm
it's
about
time to climb
in.
to the peak of the mountain. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So would that then have been 2019, or
that
still
was? I got that piece in, I think, August of 2019, something like that. Yeah, and I had started looking for art myself that fall, because I quickly realized that it'd be difficult for me with my I mean, being a musician is not exactly the most lucrative career out there, so I was like,
unless you're like a mega rock star, obviously.
Right, yeah. Which is not the case for most classical musicians, but so I started kind of hunting it myself that fall, and I think the first piece I ever found myself was Turok for the Game Boy.
Oh, the Turok,
Battle of the Bionosaurs, which is Raphael Kainon.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that was kind of the first thing I had sourced from the artist, and just kind of spiraled after that. Then I got the Lobo stuff from Val Semix, which is from the canceled Ocean Soft game.
Right.
Yeah. So that kind of like it just went like crazy after that.
So I have to ask then, how did you end up? How did you So you got into that clearly. How did you end up that you had that the Spider-Man piece that you sold me? How did you end up with that? Like why did you buy it in the first place?
Well, there was a local comic show, and I wasn't even going to go, and a friend had texted me, if he knows I like art, and he had texted me a photo, and I was like, oh, that's a great piece. And the guy wasn't asking too much money, so I just
somebody at the show had it for sale.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the local Saskatchewan convention?
Oh, which makes sense because Tom Grummett is from Saskatoon. So
exactly,
yeah. So it was there, and I was like, okay, tell him I'm gonna get it, and I drove into the show and picked it up.
Wow.
And I mean, I just thought it was a great piece for the price, and
I
also owned a VHS cover of Tom Grummett's. It was a Spider-Man Mysterio piece. VHS artwork. So I had some previous experience with his art.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I saw it on your want list. I was like, well, I don't really collect this. It was just kind of a good purchase. And then I saw it on your list, and I was like, oh, I should reach out to him, because someone else had asked me about it when I posted it.
Right. So that's what I never asked you. And sorry, excuse me, everyone, but I might as well ask him right here in front of you all. Because as you know, he had reached out. Jeremy reached out to me to say, hey, like I noticed, I think I have something you're looking for. Because he saw my want list. I have a want list in my CAF gallery. But I never asked you, because you had mentioned, as you just did now, that, well, somebody reached out to me, and I think that you said that they made you an offer, or they offered to buy it. They wanted to know if it was available or something like that.
They wanted to know if it was for sale, so I was trying to price it. Yeah.
Right. And then you said, okay, in the process of, okay, let me think about it, and trying to price it out, you went looking for comps, which is obviously what everybody out there should do. Okay, don't be lazy. That you got to do what you got to do. And then in the process of doing that, how did it go from there? You get your, you didn't, like you said, you couldn't find many comps because it's kind of a specialty piece, being a pin-up and all that. So it makes sense. How did you go from there to seeing it? You obviously you found it on my want list when you're doing your searching and stuff. But how did you come to me and not go back to the guy who had asked you if you would sell it to him? Like, how did you?
Well, to be honest, the way he was just kind of, I'd responded to him about, looking at pricing. I never heard anything back, so I felt like maybe.
Oh, I see. It wasn't. Oh, I see. Okay.
He was kind of like kicking the tire a little bit.
Kicking the tire. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it on your list, and I was like, well, we'd already talked before, and I should just ask you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very good. Good to know. Fun. Check it out. Number one Marvel fan says, nice, Jeremy. I have a vintage gaming store with a Nintendo museum set up inside. I have close to 20,000 in stock. That's
nice.
Wild. That's very cool.
Well, speaking of museum, I'm on the executive board of the Interactive Art Collection, which does the Art of Nintendo Power exhibits at conventions. So if you've ever seen that, that's our nonprofit.
Remind me, is that one of the links you gave me?
I believe so. Let me check what's in.
Everybody.
Yes, the last link. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the. You guys should check that out. Check out all the links. There's like, I believe 3 links that we put in for Jeremy, 3 or 4. Yeah. And yeah. So check those out. All related to.
It is a 501c3 nonprofit. So if anyone wants a tax deduction before the end of the year, you can make one at that website.
There you go. Nice. Good way to get that in there, Jeremy. I like that.
Well, these museum pop-ups don't pay for themselves, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to pay to put them on, right? Hey, what's up, Nick? What's up, Nicky B? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, please, everybody, please hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. I'd appreciate that. And I said, what's up, Mike? Good to see you. So those want lists do work. Nice. There is hope yet.
Who would have thought?
The one and only time it worked, my friend. Yes, it worked. But for all the hours
for Canadians.
Yeah, it works for exactly. Yeah, there was a Canadian. We didn't know we were Canadian, but I guess the Canadian sort of, it was like we were on the same wavelength or something, and it just drew us together, So it worked. So that means you're ruled out. You're out. You're out of it, Mike. My offer was rejected. Good evening, everyone. Hey, what's up, Rich? Good to see you, sir. And yeah, come on. 10 of you still haven't hit the thumbs up. Please hit it. Okay. So pretty much once 2019 hits, you start buying your first couple pieces. How does it ramp up from there? And this is where we're going to lead into our show and tell everyone. So just give us another couple of minutes and we'll start showing the art. But yeah, how do you start suddenly? I mean, does it take off right away from there? Did you start accumulating pretty quickly, or was it slow at first?
I'd say it did go pretty quick. I was putting a lot of extra money into art purchases, and,
selling off all your other stuff, right? The comics.
Yeah, that's right. And I acquired my Julie Bell Arcus Odyssey piece, which we'll talk about.
Yeah,
I acquired that I think maybe October, November, something like that. I'd bought all this stuff, and then I'd sort of discovered this was her work, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I still have it." Like it's an unreleased game, and I had seen it pop up in a magazine, so that was my way to get myself a Julie Bell Super Nintendo painting, which is always on my goal list.
Oh,
a Julie Bell Super Nintendo painting. Can't get like King of Dragons because that's a 6-figure piece,
right?
But something else, might be possible.
Yeah, but hold on, Jeremy. 6-figure piece. You're an adult now. Save up for it.
Save up for it. Yeah.
Save up for the 6-figure piece.
I'll see you in 10 years, and then it'll be worth double that, and I won't be right back to where I started.
Excuse me, everyone. You see me drinking a lot. It's because I still have that leftover coughing from the COVID spell. Okay.
So I guess what really kind of shot it forward was the pandemic. That's really what it was. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I mean, that's a lot of people can say the same thing, so that's not too surprising, Rich Cirillo, my friend in New York, he says it was nice to meet you recently at Continuity Studios.
Yeah.
So you were there recently?
Yeah. I went to New York a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And Jason Adams had invited me up because we've done stuff before together. He knows I'm into video game art, so he always forwards me stuff. And so I got to go up to the studio and meet everyone, and it was lovely. Got to see lots of art and paintings, and
that's cool.
It was great. Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rich.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Rich is a good guy, right?
Yes, very good. Yeah,
such a nice guy. Yeah. Marcus wants to know: you even sold the ASM 40?
Sadly, yes. But you know what? ASM 39 and 40 are, if I was going to buy a vintage Spidey again, it would be those two.
Get those two back. Yeah,
for sure.
That's not so bad now because it's a couple of issues, big deal, right? So it's
that's right. Yeah.
I think you probably feel comfortable enough, like secure enough in what your main collecting focus is, that I think you probably feel like, I can get those 2 issues back if I really feel like I want them. Without feeling like it's going to send me down the comic book rabbit hole again, kind of thing, right? Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Okay, everybody, why don't we get into the show and tell? You ready for that, Jeremy?
I'm ready.
All right, man. Let us start off, with the first piece. Let's check it out. What do we got? What do we got? Let me see. What a perfect segue. Rich, you're going to love this. So, first piece of tonight's show and tell by the legendary Neal Adams. A game based on an old favorite reality show / game show, I guess, from the 90s, whatever you want to call it. Let's check this out, everybody. American Gladiators. There it is. The box art for American Gladiators by Neal Adams from 1991. Wow.
Yeah.
So cool, man.
And, inked by Rudy Nebres.
Yes. And then Rudy. Yeah, because he was doing a lot of continuity work at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Neal.
Yeah, Rich was telling me it was a miracle they found that piece. I remember I got an email from Jason. I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe it was earlier this year. He's like, hey, I know you emailed about this in like 2020, but we finally found it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
wow.
It was a very nice surprise.
That's pretty crazy. Look at that, Marcus. You would remember the guys' names. Nitro. Oh my God. Now that you mention it, I remember the guy Nitro, but I would not have remembered without you mentioning it. That's funny. Yeah. And Rick says, Rudy is still taking commissions. Yes. And I think he's like 80, I want to say 7 years old or something like that. Oh, hold on. What? Cab, apologies, Jeremy, but I have to check out now. Love the story about how you and Ruben connected. Oh, that's very nice of you, Cab. We'll catch the rest of the show on Rewind. No problems, Cap. Thank you. I appreciate it as always. And I remember Karen. This is not Joust, but I remember in the 80s, I used to love going to the arcade to play Joust. Oh, love Joust. That was the one. That was the one, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one where you kind of rode on what appeared to be, I think, pterodactyls or something. And you had
yeah.
Was the pterodactyl some kind of a bird creature?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I remember Joust. Yeah, at the arcade. That was fun. Rich says, I don't think they knew what it was from at first. We had to do some research on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's really funny. Wow, rad nostalgic and Canadian being patriotic for us Americans. Yep, awesome. I'm glad you like it so far, Kavi. And Mike says they were giant ostriches. Okay, I'll take your word for it because oh my gosh, he says Marcus says ostrich eggs. Hart says ostriches also. Okay, there we go. Not pterodactyls, ostriches. Now that makes sense. Okay, had to pick up the eggs without landing in the lava. Right on. That's right. Documentary on the show was great. Documentary on what show?
On American Gladiators. It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have not seen that. Okay.
Good time buying this piece. Yeah.
Cool. I love documentaries. So, yeah. Karen, you're saying that the game on the American Gladiators box cover is Joust.
Yeah. The game is
I see.
Bunch of the mini games.
Okay. What they're calling that particular event, as I call them.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Karen. Thank you. Gladiators ready. Hi to Marcus from Kenneth. 34 watching, 31 likes. Exactly. 3 of you are missing. The game on the TV. Yeah. No, that's clarified now, so no worries. But yeah, really, really cool. Crazy to think. In 1991, didn't the show though? Am I crazy, or did it not start like in the late 80s? Or was that the first
on that?
Yeah, I think so. 88, 89 perhaps?
Yeah, something like that.
It's crazy to think it goes that far back. Wow. Man, it's nuts. Okay. All right, everybody, let's go check out the next piece in tonight's show and tell. And for that is one that Jeremy has already mentioned by Julie Bell earlier in the show. And this is a really, really, really beautiful piece. Check this out. And we'll show this, and then you can tell us a little bit about this, because this did not get published, and you probably can offer a little bit of background info on this, right, Jeremy? Yeah. All right, everybody, check this out.
Yeah, that's great. I love that piece. So this, so this was supposed to come out on Super Nintendo, but when Renovation was bought by Sega, they had a bunch of titles lined up to publish, and they canned everything that came out on the Super Nintendo. So this game went unreleased. It was released on Sega Genesis, but with different art.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And that's why everyone, I wanted to point out that on the image here of the box art, that's just a mock-up, which is why I specifically wrote that it's Arcus Odyssey Super Nintendo box mock-up.
So there actually exists an official published mock-up in a couple of different magazines. This particular one here, I had to make myself because the magazine one was very low resolution, and I like to frame my paintings with the box covers. So I kind of made this one myself. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so yeah. So you actually not only mocked it up, but so it's not just a digital mock-up then. You actually you made one. You physically printed it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. And you did it all yourself?
I did it myself, on my iPad.
Nice, man. Nice. Good work.
Yeah, thank you. It turned out well. I didn't get the dimensions exactly correct, but I figured out how to do it later.
Okay, yeah, but excuse me. I'm sure it was pretty close, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. It is indeed amazing, Rick. Yeah. And let me awesome piece regardless of publication status. Yeah.
Yeah, and Julie's Super Nintendo library that she's done is specifically beautiful. King of Dragons. She did Turrican on Game Boy. So many great pieces. Demon's Crest, Super Nintendo. Yeah, lots of great titles.
And by the way, though, folks, I do want to mention, even though it's written there, but there's it's kind of tiny. You might not be paying attention underneath the artwork image. This was ultimately still published, not for usage as a game, but the image was shown in Electronic Gaming Monthly, issue 51, page 175. For those of you who might have.
In the official Nintendo Buyer's Guide as well, which I found later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. I always liked Julie's work, and I it's fun because I don't really know a lot of the background between her and Boris Vallejo, other than they're married now. I get that, but I don't know anything about their background. So, but I've always felt like her style was very Boris influenced, and so the one thing I always wondered about, and maybe you know this, Jeremy, do you happen to know by any chance whether she began did she always have that look to her art even before they met, or was she a fan of Boris's work and maybe that's why even before they met each other she painted that way? Do you know anything about that?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen any of her work before the
video
famous, what's the magazine? She did the Metallic Shark. Heavy Metal.
Heavy Metal.
I don't think I've seen any of her work before she met Boris, but she was apparently an accomplished artist, but had been doing bodybuilding and competitions and that, and So I'm sure Boris influenced her a lot, probably, guided her when she kind of took up art again. I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but maybe something like that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no worries. I figured I'd ask. I like the signature so they can't crop her credit out. Yeah, you got to be careful.
They did that with some other pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why it's very... You got to be, as an artist, you have to be crafty, because they'll do that if they want to, if they can, if they have an opportunity where it doesn't sort of destroy the work. Yeah, they'll get rid of your signature for sure. So yeah, CJ, exactly. Yeah, they work together. Yeah.
Yeah.
EGM Mag. Hey JC, what's up? Good to see you again, man. Murdoch. Good to see you, sir. Also, I can only remember Julie and Boris being connected to each other. Okay. Well,
I think they met in the late 80s. Something like that.
Yeah, and Murdoch just found out they got married in 94. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I think they were together before that, but maybe officially married, and
Yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. All right, everybody, let's get on to the next piece in tonight's show and tell. Another kick-ass painted piece, and for that, it's I got a couple of slides to show you. First, we'll show you one just of the art because it's a widescreen horizontal piece, and then I'll show you a cropped version so you could see it next to the so you can see what the box art looks like, the published version. And here we go. Oh, hold on, sorry, I apologize, everybody. Let me first remove the. There we go. Oh, and Marcus says, both referring to Julie and Boris. They could have done American Gladiators in real life. Very true.
Yeah, they could have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other releases of that game are photographs, I think. So the NES version is the one that got
that's the
an
artwork.
Actual piece of art. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. 80s and 90s were great for painted video game covers. Very true. Earlier, somebody had asked, and I'm sorry, it caught my eye really quickly, and I didn't see who asked it, so I apologize. I can't shout you out. Somebody had asked if might it have been you, Maki Poo. The question was, is most of the artwork for video games done digitally? And it wasn't specified in terms of time frame, but I figured these days we would say probably, I would think, right?
Yeah. I think it followed kind of the same, trajectory as the movie poster industry, which is, after the mid to late 90s, everything started trending digital.
Okay.
So yeah, we lose a lot of potential paintings after that time. Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks. And Kavi is confirming it was indeed Maki Poo, asking if it was mainly digital. Yeah, there you go, Michael. That's it. You would imagine as much. Certainly over the last 1 or 2 decades, I would think probably it's probably been since like the 90s, probably where it began to switch over, like where, away from traditional.
Yeah, around 96, pretty much after 96.
Yeah.
There were even some digital covers before that, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, and good point, Kavi. Exactly. Similar to comics, it probably happened around the same time for all illustrators in general, I would think, who work with paints, painted covers and stuff. So, Murdoch also says, since the late 90s, basically once the PlayStation came out,
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay.
So there are even some paintings for PlayStation games. Not as many, but there are some. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the next one, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah, good segue, because this is a contemporary piece.
Yeah.
A painting.
And a painting.
Yeah.
A painting from the last 10 years. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And here's
and from a fellow Canadian as well.
Oh, James Edmiston is Canadian.
Jason. It should be Jason Edmiston.
I'm my mistake. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't catch it earlier.
Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, he's I think he lives Toronto area.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, very nice. And now myself not being a gamer, is this would you call is this like a known game?
Yeah, so Hitman is a very big franchise. I think there's like 8 or 9 games.
Wow, that many?
Something like that. And this is the only piece of artwork for any of it, for the whole whack load of games. This is
Wow.
So for whatever reason, when HD Trilogy came out, I think the reason this painting got made was because Square Enix decided to kind of take an art angle to it. So with the collector's edition of the game, it came with an art book with a bunch of different pieces of art by various artists. So I think they kind of that was the thought to make the box, the published box art a painting as well. It's because they were kind of taking this art angle with the re-release of the original trilogy.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Cobby's also asking, are game collections a regular source for new artwork to be commissioned by the publisher?
There certainly has been some of that. I've seen some contemporary artwork being published for some Japanese games, like the re-release of Pocky and Rocky. I believe there's an actual painting that someone did. I don't know who the artist is, but I believe it's an actual painting done for the re-release of the game. So there are sometimes new pieces of artwork made.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, it's great. And how cool. Another Canuck. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wonderful illustrator too.
I'm sorry?
He's a wonderful illustrator.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot more of his work? You're familiar with
he's
more
known for his horror art. He's done toy box art for NECA as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like
Friday
horror,
the 13th and yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Halloween as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's really neat. Yeah. All right. Let us go back again to Mr. Neal Adams. Why don't we? And check out this piece because, of course, I'm aware, they're not aware, that this was the very, very first piece you ever acquired for yourself. So, yeah, tell us about this one, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I remember when this piece showed up on eBay.
Of all places, right?
Of all places. And I was like, oh my God, it's Mario. But like, where was it used? And I later discovered it was used in all these ads for Nintendo World Championships. It was used as the basis for signage artwork as well. There's sort of a bunch of different Mario heads, but this particular one by Neal was used on a lot of stuff for NWC. So I think this might be one of the only pieces of artwork for the Nintendo World Championships.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Wow. And I say, wow, that's Robbie's wow comment is up there too. That's so cool, man. Wow. Yeah. You can't help but saying wow. And Karen thinks it's so cool too. Yeah.
I know, it's Mario, you know.
It is.
How much better can it get?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one Marvel fan. Damn nice piece, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Marcus says, I don't know what inflection we're supposed to read from this, Marcus, but typical Neal
sarcasm. You wouldn't think Neal Adams would be the Mario artist.
No, exactly. Exactly. Like if you didn't have
behind me, if we go back to the camera behind me, there's another piece of not Neal's work, but there's let's see here. If you can see right here, there's a piece of Wario artwork from Super Mario Land 2. So that's the original drawing that was used to make the signage artwork, like the promotional art.
Okay, hold on. Where is it? Where?
It's right. Let me grab it.
Oh,
I'm right here anyway.
All right. Careful with the guitar.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is the original Dangler sign, and we think the painting is probably owned by Nintendo because this artist never got it back.
Okay.
But this is the original line art that he used to make the guide for the airbrush.
Really, really cool. Wow.
Yeah. So basically the first ever Wario artwork drawn over here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's neat, man. Yeah, that's really cool. Neal was versatile. Yes, he certainly was. Yeah. Art says that is some piece of nostalgia. A great one, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, I missed you before, Adam. What's up, Adam? Good to see you. Adam mentioned earlier that he also got his start in with video games. Did you say video games or video game art, Adam? Let us know. I wonder if there was any original art for the original Doom.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
Ivan Punchats is the artist. For
Doom is it?
1. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, I know him from 1970s book covers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I would never have guessed that he later got into, video game. That's so cool.
He's the original Doom artist. And the Julie Bell also did a painting for Doom 2, which was never used.
Oh.
I think it was a magazine cover. They used it on a magazine. But Brahm painted the Doom 2 cover.
Wow. So even Brahm did work for them, the video game industry. Wow.
Yeah.
That's, again, there's a guy who I know more of as a fantasy horror illustrator. I just see his illustrations online, but I never really know, are they done for anything in particular other than, let's say, books or art books, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just finding out, all these guys, certain artists that I'm aware of from other industries, and now you're sort of revealing, they've done video game art. It's like, you probably know them only from video game art, right?
Or fantasy artists.
Fantasy art, right? Yeah. That's so cool, man. That's really
Diablo
neat.
2 as well as Braum.
Oh,
World of Warcraft did those paintings.
World of Warcraft. Wow, man. Nice framing, by the way, says Maki Poo Poo.
Thanks.
Yeah. And
Carl
Carl
says
says
framing.
Yeah. Very cool little. I'd say that it is also a case where color matting makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's not get into that. But Rich says Neal did quite a few video game ads back in the day, including one for Frogger, and then Empire Strikes Back video game with Michael Golden. Really?
Cool. Well, you know who to contact if those turn up.
Yeah. I was gonna say, where are those, Rich? Have you seen them? Yeah, man. Holy crap. That's really, really cool. Adam, so so you got with the games. Okay, grew up with 5 brothers who all like games. Okay.
There
we go. Thank you, Adam.
That was the connecting link with my friends too. It's just everybody played games, you know.
Okay. So Knights of Old is asking, where's the Bionic Commando piece?
Well, is Dan still in the chat?
Dan, you out there? You listening?
Mr. Maresca?
If I remember correctly, John Carmack owns the cover art to the original Doom. I don't know. Now Jeremy's going to quietly go and search.
I mean, I do know Apogee owns a lot of paintings, like Duke Nukem stuff as well. So yeah.
Okay. No, you're being serious. Since it was also framed with the actual production piece. No, I didn't take it that way, Carl. It's because, Carl, before you started to tune in more frequently on my shows on Sunday nights, the rest of the people in the audience, whatever, and myself, we have this thing going on where I always give my opinion about how things should and should not be framed when it comes to black and white art. And so that's it. I thought you were aware of that, and I was making an allusion to that. So that's all I was saying. Yeah, nothing else other than that. Karen has a question. So Karen, does Jeremy know where the box art is for Metal Gear NES?
No, and I don't believe we know the artist of that either. I could be wrong. Maybe someone figured it out, but personally, I don't know who the artist is of Metal Gear.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing about the video game box art industry, is, again, kind of like we were talking about before. If the video game company, the publisher, let's call them, if they don't want the competition, if they don't, if they like a certain artist and they don't want other people poaching them to do work for the competitor's video game, they can easily, let me edit out his signature and nobody will know who it is. They won't be able to contact him and find him or whatever. That's part of the reason, right? And so because of that, and also because the fact that the boxes are printed small, once you shrink the painting down to that video game box size, unfortunately, oftentimes, even if the signature is there, it's just illegible because it's so tiny sometimes, right? So
yeah. And that's the case with when we get to R-Type, we can talk about that too.
Right, exactly. Yes, and I knew you were gonna get to that once we got to that piece. So I have not seen either original turn up. A lot of advertising art was not returned. That's true, but they are the ads that were on the back of the comic book covers in the early 80s that Neal drew. Wow, the ones on the back of the comics. That's so cool. Wow. Okay. Yes, you know me, number one Marvel fan. I love, hey, what's up, Dwayne Tapane? Love the original Legend of Zelda booklet art. Is that out there? Does anybody know where that is, Jeremy? No,
mostly Japanese at that point. Japanese artwork. Yeah, okay. Which is generally a no-go, for most collectors. It's very difficult to get anything from Japan.
Okay. Yes, which makes sense because even with manga, right, it's always been very difficult to get. The artists have a tradition of keeping the art in comics, anyways. The artists keep it, so I would think that when it comes to video game art, either the artist, if they get it back, would keep it as well, or just like in America, the video game company decides to keep it, kind of thing,
Yeah, and there's a bit of a sentiment too of it being on sort of national treasure status, so artists typically don't want important things leaving the country. So
right,
like, Amano's Final Fantasy art, like I doubt, unless you're the original creator, probably no one's going to see those.
Right. Yeah, I got you. So Jason, Southern Comic Geek, says, since we have Ruben started, is any video game art blue line, and what's the difference? We're not gonna. You better be joking, because we're not gonna start explaining the difference of what blue line is. But is any video? I would assume any video game that's done blue line would only be the types that we're going to be showing, which is like when it's comic book guys who kind of do some pen and ink work, and somebody provides the pencil, and then
I've seen some that are blue pencil, and then
blue pencil, yeah. Okay, similar to the comic books, how they do it in comic books, yeah. Karen also says, I guess in response to what her question about the Metal Gear art, she says it's probably an artist from Konami. Do you think?
Probably, and later on, when Tom Du Bois started being the artist for Konami, he did a lot of Konami covers. A lot which were lost over time. But he was
at least
known as the artist.
At least it's known. Okay. And are you saying he became the sort of de facto artist for them and did a lot of work for them? And you're saying that those originals are kind of like no one seems to know what happened to them?
Yeah. So it's theorized that Konami kept a lot of stuff, but then there was an earthquake that destroyed their headquarters. So we think that a lot of originals
must have gotten destroyed,
lost. Unfortunately.
Wow. Do we know if has he come out and publicly said, "Hey, I never got any of that stuff back"? Is he one of those?
He's been known for a while, and several collectors in our Facebook group own some of his paintings, the ones that he did retain.
That right, and the ones that went out. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Hey, Jason, and okay, talking to Jason. Knights of Old. What's the video game original art grails? Japanese Super Mario Famicom box cover, Capcom Bengus paintings. Companies probably have them.
The Famicom stuff would have been Yoichi Kotabe would have been the artist for that stuff, and presumably Nintendo has all those.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would think Nintendo is one of those companies who have an archive of all that early art, right? Like they must own most.
We don't even know.
Right.
Yeah, we think so.
It's kind of like a presumption that everybody probably makes, I would think, right?
Yeah, and there's a Nintendo museum being built in Japan. So they're like making their own museum. So what's going to be in there?
Oh, they're in the process now of building that? Oh, yeah. How interesting is that? Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. They'll get people from North America to travel there just to see that for sure,
Yeah.
So, man, Jeremy has me wanting game art now. Damn, another addiction. Well, you can control yourself.
Once you start.
Rabbit holes. Hey, Mark, what's up? Speaking to Karen. Okay, we got to keep moving. We got to get a move on. So I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves. An earthquake or Godzilla destroyed their offices. Sorry, you just came back from the movie today. How was the movie?
I've heard it's good.
Because I heard it was good, even though he doesn't appear in the movie very much. Apparently, Godzilla doesn't appear that much, but when he does, it's really awesome. That's what I was told.
Right. Whatever. Well, you can only have so much destruction, right?
Yeah. I guess. Let me see. And Knights of Old. The NES Metal Gear cover was originally made for the MSX system. Okay, dropping some knowledge there again. Okay, thank you. I appreciate seeing you, Knights of Old. Thanks for dropping that knowledge. And let us go to the next piece, everybody. And and I guess let me quickly show you, because I didn't show you earlier, or did I? So I showed you guys this one for the Neal Adams Mario piece, but just wanted to show you a more close up, just so you get a better idea. You can see the nuances in the ink brushes. Still can't tell, of course, with this type of style that Adams would have ever been able to be the guy who drew this, but it's really awesome. So beautiful signature on it, so that's really cool too.
And it has his holographic sticker on the back.
And right, fantastic. Awesome. All right. So let us move on to the next piece, everybody. For this, you comic book art collectors will really appreciate, I guess. So we got some crossover here. Let's check this out. The original art to X-Men Wolverine's Rage by Randy Green.
Randy has done a few game covers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
And
pretty
obviously,
recent purchase for me too.
Sorry?
A pretty recent purchase for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you get it from Randy himself?
No, this was on another calf gallery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you just reached out?
I just reached out.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat. Did you? It was one of those pieces that wasn't for sale, so you just kind of reached out and saw if it was inquired if it was available, and then did you have to make like an offer or?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. And
nice.
It worked out. It was good.
Okay. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let me see here. Rich says the movie was amazing. Best Godzilla movie in my opinion. Yes, he guest stars in his own movie, but what appearances he makes. Okay, so you're echoing exactly what I've heard. So, yes. So number one Marvel fan is loving the Wolverine here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's such a great render.
Karen. Yeah, it's really neat. Rated E for excellent, says Rick. Nice.
It's quite a late Game Boy Color game.
Yeah, and Rich, Wolverine has a Bart Sears Joe Mad vibe. I agree. And the Bart Sears, of course, makes a lot of sense. I think they were both kind of drawing Randy. Wasn't Randy Green inking Bart back in the 90s for quite a while? I think he was. So that would make sense. And Kavi says, comic book game art, best of both worlds. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a cool crossover. Yeah,
exactly. Did they know Wolvie was box art?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Yeah, that's the previous owner he's referring to. Yeah. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, I would assume, Jeremy, that because that background appears to be the background I recall from like the posters of the movie, the X-Men movie. Is that what that is? It looks familiar.
Yeah, and I think they reused that on another title like Randy did as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be like a digital thing, right? Not like an airbrush piece. Yeah. That looks digital. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Rick Ketchum inked that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The one we just showed?
Yeah.
Hey, I took all the info from your gallery, so if I didn't,
it should be on there.
Really? Okay, check because
I'll check.
Yeah, check for me because maybe it was my mistake, but I definitely I'm really a stickler for crediting the people responsible. So, yeah, I did not notice that.
It is not on there.
Oh, Jeremy.
My bad. But now you know.
Now we know. It's Rick Ketchum, everyone.
Yes.
Knight says, I've worked in the video game industry since 1999. Wow. Doing what? And there's never been any non-digital art, so traditional, besides whiteboards and sketchbooks. Wow.
Yeah,
what do you do,
I find after that period, a lot of the original art that exists is in design work. Like, I know for some other games, there'll be a lot of people did hand sketches of like level layouts and stuff like that.
Oh,
there is lots of stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Or storyboards. I have some storyboards of
storyboards
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool. Okay. Marcus, Ruben gotta catch them all. You love the puns. All right, let's check out the next piece, everybody. And we go from Wolverine to Resident Evil 2 from Ultra Game Players magazine cover art. One of your favorites. Wow. Yes, 1998.
I'm a huge Resident Evil fan.
Okay, cool. Tell us a bit about this one, man, if you can.
Yeah, well, Gary Ruddell, I mean, is one of my favorite illustrators, I think. He's such an incredible painter. And this, as far as I know, is his only magazine cover for video games that he's ever done. He's done a bunch of box artwork, but Yeah, this is the only magazine cover I know of, and actually one of the only magazine covers besides a small amount that actually has anything original. So a lot of magazines tended to recycle the art from Japan.
Okay.
But yeah, they kind of did a massive feature in this mag with an interview with the creators, and so they kind of went all out in commissioning this piece.
Yeah, it's cool. And as usual, of course, when it gets to print, there's always some problem where some of the art gets washed out.
Yeah,
you know,
they mirror imaged it, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean the mirror image is okay. I mean, I get why they do that, right? When they have a certain layout in mind, and it just works better sometimes. But I'm referring more to like when you look at the creature, let's call it, the
zombie vampire.
The zombie vampire, yeah. Yeah, the color just like if you look at if you look at her face on the original, you see more of a skin tone, whereas it's sort of getting washed out on the published cover. Her arm, the same thing. It's a little bit lighter, right? It's just but that's publishing for you. That's why original art is so amazing to get into and admire and look at, because you really get to see the artist's true intention, without losing anything in the published version. So
and it's painted in oils on canvas. Beautiful. It's right beside me here, actually.
Oh yeah. Should we?
Let's show it.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second here, and let's do this again. Oh yeah, hold on. Hold on.
Right there.
Hold on. Let me do this, and then. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
It's huge. It's massive. It's
Wow.
I have the cover below it too. So
oh my God! And you even though it was a magazine, you still framed it with the magazine. Wow!
You know what? He was kind enough to include a printing sample of the cover, so I was like, how can I not use this? And it's his daughter. As Claire.
That's his daughter as the model.
Daughter. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's also neat. Yeah. Nobody see that again. That's another one of those things I love about original art. When you get into it, you find out, and while you acquire these pieces, you find out these little bits and details that are really fun to know, because nobody else, millions of people have seen the game, right, and seen that they're familiar with the image. None of them would know anything about to them it's just us. He just painted some girl or whatever, right?
Yeah. Not just some girl.
Yeah, you wouldn't, all those people just would never know and never think. So
yeah, and Resident Evil 2, it's a property that there's not a lot of cover art, so to speak, available. So things like magazine covers, I was really happy to get. I also own a book cover of Resident Evil, which is also right up here beside me. So that's
that one. Yes.
That's the original painting for the Code Veronica novel.
Wow.
So that was kind of the first Resident Evil thing I got.
I'm glad that you were able to show that one, because that was not one of the ones I ended up choosing for tonight. So
yeah,
I hope we still get to see it, So
yeah, I love
that's
that.
Awesome.
So good. And that one in particular, I remember reading the book in high school, or not even high school. I was still in middle school, but
wow,
the cover, I just saw it and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I sketched it in art class. And
oh yeah.
So when I got the chance to buy the actual painting, it was really kind of a special experience.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so much more special. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Rick, exactly. The bullet holes. Yeah. You can stare at it minute after minute, and you'll find more things that kind of get lost in the shuffle. So Carl says it's a great image, of course. Nice RE2 cover. The original PS1 game still haunts my memory.
I had many nightmares. Yes.
They have to photograph brighter. Rich says they increase the contrast in the published cover, losing a lot of the fine detail of the originals. Yeah, that's my point. That's why there's nothing like original art, baby. And so cool in person. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And take one last look at it. Yeah, I mean, there's plus with so much copy, like Rick was saying with the bullet holes, it's because they have to put so much copy on the cover right? That it just, all that text, it's just like, of course it's going to cover up a ton of artwork,
Yeah,
even though
and actually someone in our group theorized that they increased the contrast on it to kind of tie in her vest color to the red around the titles and the Ultra Game Players.
they're probably right, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, yeah, really, really, really cool. And we have Dan back. Marcus, a few things, yes. Neo Contra, Wildcats, Punisher, NES. There, they use the War Journal 8 cover, NES, Wolverine. Okay, giving some facts there. Karen wants to know, where's Leon?
Funny you mentioned that, because I had the idea once of getting Gary to paint me a B side, because in the game there's like A and B campaign. So I thought, oh, maybe he can paint me a B side with Leon on the opposite side of the corner.
Oh,
that would be really cool, actually. Probably
but
cost me a lot of money though. His gallery stuff is like 20,000 and more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. When they're in that sort of neighborhood, yeah, commissioning anything from them is going to be, yeah, an arm and a leg, so to speak. Yeah.
Zombie food.
Yeah. Marcus says Jim Lee did a lot of video game art. Really? Never sure if they get used. Oh,
he did a lot. Yeah.
Probably concept work, and then maybe.
No, he did covers. There's a bunch of published Jim Lee covers. Yeah.
But would have like superhero related ones or
Wildcats? Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense though, because that's
he did
his
a Game Boy, Spider-Man, Punisher.
Okay.
Cover as well.
Oh, right. I remember that stuff. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And there's also some interplay work as well that he did. Yeah.
Very nice.
Blackthorn.
Oh, okay. All right, everybody. Let us move on to the next piece in tonight's show and tell. And for that, we go to one that everybody should know. Check out this really cool piece from 30 years ago. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the preliminary art. We don't know who the artist is, of course, because I guess in those days it would have been some studio artist, and it could have been any, and because they didn't sign the piece, right?
I do know the artist of this, but I wanted to protect him a little bit.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
no worries. He wants to remain anonymous. Is that why?
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, had a special thing going on. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, no worries then. No worries. Yeah. Well, for all intents and purposes, we can still say it's an unknown artist to most people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he designed basically a lot of the European Sonic artwork back in those days.
Okay.
For Sonic 2 and 3, and he didn't do any of the paintings. That was Duncan Gutteridge, but he did all the pencil work and design.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did you just say Duncan Gutteridge?
Yes.
What wasn't it? It's not Dan?
No, Duncan.
Okay. I guess when we get to the Gutteridge pieces, I'll see what I wrote, because I thought I wrote Dan, and I thought I might have copied it. I would have copied it from you. Well, okay. Let's see what happens when we get there. Let's just not worry about it now. But Marcus wants to ask, does the Sonic comic book art from Archie interest you?
I think personally, it's really cool. To me, it's a bit too far removed from the games for me to kind of collect. I sort of want the stuff that's directly tied to the games, like advertisement or box art, or that kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, there you have it, Marcus. Karen says her son loves this. Well, don't all kids? I would think the younger kids love Sonic for sure.
Yeah, very relevant now with movies.
Yes. Sega Grail. That's awesome. Yeah. Dwayne Zapane says Knuckles' first appearance page.
Yeah. So the thing with this piece is that he designed it, and then Sega ended up taking everything internal, and they sort of used his composition, but they modified it a bit on the Mega Drive release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will explain why I did the next thing.
Yes. We'll get to that in a second. Carl says, who else just heard Sega in their head from when you started the game? Oh, I was singing Sega from the commercials I used to see all the time.
Oh, I was thinking the console startup.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I'm not a gamer, so there you go. That's why. There you go. Yeah, so that's very cool. Oh, and look at that. Wow. Congrats for I mean, I shouldn't say congrats, but thank you for coming back, Pad Bear. Pad Bear's all the way in Wales right now. So wow. So he's, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So it's already, you know, early morning for him. Wow. Have you ever seen the painted game cover artworks by Bob Wakelin for Ocean and Imagine Software from the 80s and early 90s? Amazing covers for a lot of early coin-op conversions.
Yes, absolutely. Incredible artist, and several collectors in our group own some of his paintings.
Oh,
included, which was known as Grisor in Europe.
Okay. Well, there you go, Pad Bear. Wow, look at that. I mean, I'm gonna say, yeah, I mean, like I said, one of the things I love so much about doing these show and tells, it's not just showing, because most of the people who come in to see, it's because they want to see the art. But I really love the knowledge that gets dropped, and sometimes it's by the guest, but sometimes it's a lot of the times it's even from the people watching, right in the live chat. But I love it when the guests can also provide a lot of the knowledge, and obviously when you're sort of deeply into a specific type of collectible, you tend to sort of want to find out and learn as much as you can, and you really go dig deep, and you find out about, hey, where's all this stuff, and you start to learn a lot about where all this stuff went, where it might be, who has what, you know, and yeah, so it's always nice when you can drop more knowledge about that stuff. And let me ask you, Jeremy, the you mentioned the group just now. You were referring to the Facebook group?
The Facebook group, yes.
Right. That Facebook group, like when you say, oh, so you know, one of the members of the Facebook group has that, do they tend to, do you know it because people in the group talk about it, or is it because like a lot of these guys who collect share it? Are they openly sharing their you know, images of their collections in the group, or do they tend to keep it more secret and talk? Okay, they show.
No, there are some members who show a lot of their collections in the group and are public about pieces they own. So yeah, if you guys join up in the Facebook group, which is in the link below, you can browse a lot of history with some really spectacular posts.
Okay, yeah, I would imagine. So join the group for you guys who are interested in this stuff. That's, yeah, absolutely. Isn't the holy grail of all game art collectors go the dolphin? What?
Boris Vallejo.
But I guess I'm not a gamer, so I'm kind of losing. What's he talking about? Is he being serious?
It would be a grail for yeah.
Oh, Boris, so that's a serious question.
Boris did all the Echo the Dolphin paintings, yeah.
Oh, wow. How many are there?
3 or 4.
Okay.
That he did, yeah.
And they're
at
all
least 3.
But I mean, I guess I thought it was he might have been joking, only because I was like, well, isn't the holy grail of all game art collectors? Why would that be the holy grail of all video game collectors?
Maybe not of all, but certainly if you're Sega focused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That would be a big grail. Yeah.
Okay. Because when I think, again, not being a gamer, but when I think of video games, I'm just like, okay, you want to talk about holy grail? To me, it would be all the Nintendo, Mario, Super Brother type related artwork. You know, like
at the same time, there's not a lot of that.
No, I get it. I get it. But, right. But grail doesn't mean that it has to be available. We're just saying if you could find any one piece, right? Like theoretically, what would it be? So that's why that's the first thing that comes to mind for me, you know. Or actually, what about all this stuff? You must know about where all the art is for the Atari 2600 type of box art, the advertising art, that kind of stuff. Is that out there or?
There is some of it out there. A member of our group does own several Atari pieces. In general, a lot of that stuff was lost, unfortunately. So there's not a lot of it in existence, but there are some.
In what way?
Just lost, stolen, thrown out.
Oh,
the game
okay.
market, video games crashed.
Yeah.
In the height of Atari. So, when they emptied their headquarters, it's like in the garbage it goes. And that's actually what happened to Bob Wakelin, who we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
Ocean, when they went under, they had a lot of his paintings, which they didn't return. And a friend of his called him and was like, "You better get down here. They're throwing all your paintings in the garbage."
wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, he recovered what he could. But
wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Adam says, yeah, this is making me want original art from a LucasArts game cover like Sam and Max or Lens of Lore, The Throne of Chaos. Well, that's kind of part of the reason of watching these things. Is, maybe it incites you into dipping a toe in. Maybe you start getting into the hobby yourself, That's part of the fun. So
yeah, Sam and Max is Purcell, Steve Purcell.
Steve Purcell, yeah.
Purcell, yeah.
It's Marcus, so it's both a joke and dead serious. Well, that's what I always say. I never know. That's all I'm saying. So I never mean anything by it, Marcus. You know that. I just often don't know what you're being serious or not. But
he's being meta.
Yeah. The 3 Echo games, I think, and Colibri, the spiritual successor. What is that an answer to a question? Not sure. Sorry. Unobtainium Mario. Yeah. Well, yeah. We know.
Basically.
We know. Yeah. Where's all those awesome Atari? Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. All this Atari box stuff. Exactly. Pennsylvania box art would be fantastic. Pong. Man, I remember in the 70s, the late 70s, my dad came home with Pong. We had Pong. I mean, shit, that predated Atari 2600, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Pong. Wow. Yeah. And then after that, in the early 80s, I was like, Atari 2600, I want one. And my parents were like, video games that rot your brain. No. I didn't find out until years later that they just didn't have the money. We never had enough money. It was like 1980, 81 or whatever. I still remember in the local catalog here, we had a chain of stores local. I think it was local, called Consumers Distributing. And it was a chain store where you'd go inside, you'd get in line. There's nothing but a counter. You'd get in line that snaked around to the counter, and you'd fill out a piece of paper because you'd look at the catalog. You'd fill out a piece of paper telling them what you want. You'd hand it over to the person behind the counter, and they'd go back into the warehouse and retrieve the item you wanted. Yeah. What a weird store, but they ultimately went out of business eventually. But I used to stare at that annual catalog. I'd open it. I'd sit at the kitchen table, open to the Atari 2600 double-page spread that showed you the console plus all the games, and I'd be in the kitchen, literally sitting there. I'm not even joking. Or exaggerating in the least. Sit there, page opened right there, and I'd look down at it for at least 3 hours straight in hopes that my mother, who would be, cooking and doing stuff in the kitchen, would see me so obsessed with that every day that she would realize, oh, he must really want that. Oh, for Christmas, I got to get him that. And then Christmas,
Mom.
Yeah, man. And Christmas after Christmas, I got squat. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that's why, they would start telling me, no, it's bad for you. It's going to rot your brain. It's bad for you, whatever. And then, like I said, I ultimately realized it was $300 back in those, $299.99. I remember.
A lot of money back then.
Think about that, 1981, whatever, like $300.
I think games are expensive now.
Yeah, exactly.
$89.99 for a game in the mid 90s or something, or in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Atari when young, loved playing for years, and always thought the artwork was so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. In my early days, I was super into it, but since I never got my console, that's why I never became a gamer, because I never got one. I would play at a neighbor's house or whatever, so it was sporadic for me, right? So that's why I never really got to, and then it never bit me the way comics did, Right. Oh my God. I remember all those. Yar's Revenge, E.T. We're Up and Staying. What's up? Hey, We're Up and Staying. Just so you know, thank you for leaving me that comment on that roundtable episode we did. I appreciate your comment, but just so you know, I responded to it, and I thought you would get a notification of my response, but I never got a response back from you. So just so you know, in case you didn't see my response, go back to it, please. I responded to it, so just so you know. All right, thank you. Adam says that original Mega Man box art looks like it was done in color pencil.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
who or
check
where.
Yeah. Any good books done for Nintendo art? There might be a Japanese done book, anything like that, Jeremy?
Yeah, there are several books. Limited Run Games has done some stuff. There's a brand new box art book from a is it Bitmap Books? It's a UK based publisher.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's there's a Street Fighter book that talks about Mick McGinty's artwork that he did for it.
Okay. But focused only on Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of yeah.
Very
There's an Atari book which has all the box art and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think Tim Lapatino had something to do with that.
Okay.
Published, yeah.
Does the book show mostly the published boxes or like original?
Things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that would have been from like before they disappeared into the ether?
Well, there's still some that are out
there.
I
see. The ones that are out there are the ones that make it.
The vast majority is MIA, yeah.
Okay. Marcus wants to know, what about PC games? Do you care about that at all?
Yeah, I do have some PC-related art, yeah.
Okay. Knights says, arcade cabinet marquee and side art originals would be amazing. Oh, God. Yeah. That's interesting, too, now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any arcade art myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they had a lot of those. The catalog had lingerie too. What's happening here? I'm not sure. You've lost me now. Best warehouse in Nova. What? Yeah, sorry, CJ. It's over my head. Consumers Distributing. Remember that. Dan, are you Canadian? Because I don't think Canadian. Dan's Canadian.
Yeah.
Dan's Canadian. Wow. Hey. Awesome, Dan. Welcome again.
Welcome back a second time.
For the second time. Thank you. This evening. I actually thought it was just a Quebec thing, but I guess not. I guess it was across the country in different provinces. You were familiar with it, Jeremy?
Not maybe. Not
okay.
Mostly.
I mean, it's been gone for a long time, so it probably went out of business when I think you were still like a little kid kind of thing, you know.
Probably,
so
yeah. I think you and Dan are probably close to the same age.
Okay. We had something like the service merchandise here where you shopped the showroom and gave them the ticket. Oh, okay, they pulled it from the back. Wow, okay. Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. Yeah, as a kid, it was mesmerizing. Everybody in our city, we used to make fun of it because of the fact that in the catalog, they had a personal massager. And everybody always used to laugh about that, you know, like, oh, who's going to order the personal massage? Who's going to go up and hand somebody at the counter a piece for a personal massager, knowing that it was the vibrator, you know? That was for years the joke.
At all.
Yeah, the joke around town. My mom got the Sears, J.C. Penney's catalogs. I would dream looking at them there. So, you know, you can relate to what I was saying.
All the toys.
You know? I worked for a large licensed t-shirt company in the 90s, and a lot of the original hand-drawn art was getting thrown in the trash at one point. I saved what I could from the dumpster. Jesus.
Well, bravo for saving what you could.
Yes, exactly.
So much missing now that could be
Meanwhile, my mom is cooking dinner feeling bad for me. I don't think so. I think she was oblivious or not giving a crap. How the perspective on things change now that we are the parents. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. I like Tower Inferno for Atari. I love the movie. I never played the game, but I love the movie. And if you're owner buying a Commando painting, well done. Pat Bear, there are some good books out there for Metal Gear series showing all the Shoji Shinkawa artworks. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. Sorry, talking to each other. Thanks for winning. Yeah, I was in BC. Oh, okay, cool, man. Yeah, no worries. What else? Something like that. Strange Brew when they get a case of beer. I never saw Strange Brew. Ruben, the young perv. I didn't say it was me. It was everybody in town, man. There are some really good books out there. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let us get back to this show, everybody. So we were just looking at this, everyone, for the benefit of those of you who may have come in only in the last few minutes. The preliminary artwork from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. by an artist who some people know who it is, but the majority of the public do not know. But this is a great segue because this was from 30 years ago, 1993. And because of his love for that piece, Jeremy had something special made, or commissioned, I guess is the right word here. Let's take a look at that, and we'll have Jeremy tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. So Duncan Gutteridge is
check the page, because how could I have been? I can't imagine I made that mistake again. Are you sure? Let me check your page, man.
I'm pretty sure I would not have put that in there. If I did, I
really
apologize profusely.
I never make. Listen. I've made mistakes on my slides before, but like not like this is terrible. Like for one show, making 2 or 3 mistakes is like it's so unlike me. Come on. Oh.
Okay, well, so the story of this thing is that they sort of changed that design sketch in the final, and it was sort of a mashup of various artists. And Duncan Gutteridge had only painted Knuckles on the published cover for Sonic 3 on the Mega Drive, and he also did the title art. So because of that, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be interesting if we took this original design sketch, which is how it was done back then. The marketing director would make the sketch and give it to Duncan, and he would do a painting based on it. So I was like, why don't you do a full-size painting, just how you would have done back in those days, of this sketch? So this is basically like how it should have looked before Sega kind of went their own way and mucked with it and made it less interesting.
Yeah, and it's 22 by 30, so he worked nice and large.
It's huge, yeah, and it's bigger than we originally discussed. So when I got it in person, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, wow.
So it's kind of like a full 30 years later. It's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You got this one framed, right?
No, I have not framed this one.
You've got this one aside then.
It's so enormous. It's on a shelf here, but
okay.
I probably should get it framed at some point.
Yeah, it's lovely, you know. Out of curiosity, how long from the time you guys discussed it and you sent him the payment before he ultimately, you received it in your hands? How long was that?
There were sort of extenuating circumstances. So I had talked with him before about a different commission, just sort of a 30th anniversary painting of Sonic. Kind of we talked about things and never eventually pulled the trigger on it. But when I got the sketch later on, I was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity. Let's do this commission that we talked about based on this sketch. But so I'd sent him half payment up front, and he showed me, all the design sketches and drawings and colors that he was working on. It ended up taking about 4 or 5 months, but because he had some family illness and things like that he was dealing with, so
I see.
I assume it would have been a lot quicker, but yeah, it took a while because of that, but it was nice that it was eventually finished in 2023, right? Because then it was like 30 years later. It's like, it doesn't really matter, but but 30 years.
no, but as collectors, trust me, we all get that.
Yeah.
It's one of those little minutia that you kind of care about. It's just like, whatever. And like you say, had it not made it, whatever. But still, like it's nice to know that, okay, it was completed in the 30th year. That's it. Rather than having to tell people, well, he started it in the 30th anniversary, but it continued into the 31st. Whatever. It's much cooler to say it this way, So
And Duncan is known as the European artist for Sonic because he did so many paintings back in those days. Yeah. Okay.
And on the off chance you ever see this, Duncan, my profuse apologies for putting your name as Dan. Is that what I did, Dan? Did I put Dan? Yeah, Dan.
Yeah.
My profuse apologies. I'm very, very sorry, but at least we are correcting it for the record here. Sorry, and sorry to you.
He won't mind, I'm sure.
But I still, I get pissed off at myself because I know it doesn't look like it, Jeremy, but I am actually very anal about details. Very detail conscious. So I don't know what the hell happened here, but I'm so sorry. That's all I can say is I can't take it back now. It's too late, but I apologize. So there you go.
We'll make it work.
Sincerely. Okay, and I just wanted to show because people were saying something about the. Oh, Dan, personal massager. I saw one of those wands at a friend's house when I was 10, and I thought it was just a massager. Little did I know.
For something.
Yeah, those personal massagers were huge back then. There you go. You remember that, man. Oh, thanks for the update, CJ. The Cowboys are hammering the Eagles. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. The Eagles are suddenly going down this year. So we'll see what happens. Who else is out there? Both are playing lights out now. Okay. Canadian Ruben, you're forgiven. Thank you. Well, but you're not the one who has to forgive me. So yeah.
You just have to say sorry and it's good.
The anal detailer, you got it, Rich. You know it, baby. I gotta leave now. Okay, have a wonderful week. Thank you, honey, and I'll see you later. Thank you. Have a good night. And Jeremy says bye. By the way, I got to you back. I got to your comment late. By the way, so if you're hearing me, he says good night. I don't know if you heard that, but he said good night. So they had a big ball. We're still talking about the personal massager. Okay, somebody you know, another person that came in. Hey, Jeremy, I've skimmed through the video and got caught up. Glad y'all are still chatting. There you go. Okay. Do you know Chief Curator? Because you know what some people see. You're confused, right? Don't forget, some people. That's what kills me sometimes.
It's Sanford. I know. It's Sanford.
Okay.
It's my friend Sanford.
But you know how some people they'll jump into some platform and they'll talk to you like they expect you should know them. But they don't realize on that platform, they're using like a different name from the platform you normally talk to them from, right? And then I'm like, who the hell are you? Like, what, And it's like, yeah, okay.
I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go, Chief Curator. Maybe try to, here's a message to all of you. Try to keep the same name on all platforms. Doesn't matter if it's a fake name, but try to keep the same name. It's so much easier. It's so hard to keep track otherwise. Anyways, just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, Sanford. Jeez.
There you go. You see, I think Dan's talking to me. Good point. I think it's definitely a good point. Good night, Vivian and Chief Curator. At least 2 more. It won't be. I gotta speed this up because Jeremy gave me a bit of a time thing that he wants to
don't worry about it.
You sure?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm
having a great time.
Oh, well, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. But at the same time, I still want to respect that if you got to go, you got to go. I get that. So, okay, cool. All right, everyone. Enough personal massager talk. Let us. Real quickly, let me just hold on a second. Let me get my. Let me copy and paste this here so I can put this link. Okay. So everyone, as I always do, just a quick reminder to check out the original art experience, Nikki B's show on Fridays. Check it out every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. I guess you're not here now, Nick, so you can't tell me if you got any special planned, anything special planned for this particular coming Friday. But everybody, check it out. Either subscribe or bookmark it at the very least. There's the direct link to this coming Friday's episode. Nick always has affordable art for sale. And who knows, as we get closer to Christmas, who knows? Maybe he's going to be in the giving mood. He does do giveaways sometimes. So who knows what's coming up this week. But tune in and check it out and find out for yourselves. All right. Let me see here. Let me come back. All right. Let us go on now, everyone. Nick. Yes, Marcus. Nick should be selling personal massagers. Or at least giving them out. What do you think? All right, everybody. Let's get to the next piece. The next piece in the show and tell is this beauty.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. Speaking of Boris. Yes, which we've spoken a lot about Boris tonight. Now we finally get to see it, Boris. Yes. Tell us about this one, man.
Yeah, so I got this one from another collector.
Okay.
Who had purchased this along with a few other video game related pieces from Heritage many years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and okay. I I bought this one, I think, in August or September of 2020, something like that.
Okay, nice.
And it was the most I'd ever spent on a piece of art. So it made me nervous a little bit initially buying it, but I'm very, very glad I did.
You mean nervous because of the money you were spending, or nervous because you were spending so much money and you didn't know whether you would see the artwork arrive?
No, nervous just because I was spending so much money.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Would you, well, it doesn't matter if you mind or not, because I'm still going to ask you, but it's okay. Obviously, if you don't have to answer the question. I would never ask anybody what they paid for something, but I'm just curious, because this is kind of an informational thing. And, since my audience is mainly, comic art people, would you be willing to reveal at least, just for some of us that are curious, to have some sort of idea of what this stuff goes for? Would you be able or be willing to reveal whether something like this was like either a 4-figure piece or a 5-figure piece?
This is, I would say, definitely a 5-figure piece.
Okay.
I guess the latest comparable I could give for this piece was that Julie Bell's a Super Nintendo piece of hers, Super Valis 4, was sold recently in the group, and that was around 60 US.
60K? 60,000?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would peg that somewhere. Maybe around that. I don't know, like valuation wise, it's so hard to say.
Yeah.
But I will say that Boris stuff is very prized among collectors, and very difficult to get.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So I'm thankful I have a piece. I didn't really even care what it was. It was like, I'll just take whatever I can. I just want a Boris.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sanford Heritage.
Yes, Heritage. Yeah, it sold at Heritage in 2007.
Okay, yeah.
And I bought it from that buyer who had it for many, many years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was ages ago. That's a lot in this market. And I know that it's not my market, but it's still entertainment illustration. It's close enough. It's close enough to comic book art that, being a comic art guy, I know that this stuff would also have experienced a tremendous amount of upward growth in value over the last, especially over the last, post-COVID era, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, I think there's a podcast for video game art collectors as well, and Dan is on it as well as Sanford, and they were talking about Boris and Julie work, and there was kind of a stagnation for a while for Boris artwork, not really much movement over the last 10 years, and then suddenly, 2019 onward, we've seen a lot of upward tick in Boris work.
Yeah. Knights of Old wants to know, is the Boris painting the most valued of the pieces shown so far? Would you say?
So far, yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go, Knights. Quick answer, quick question, quick answer. So that's really cool. No, so it's a great piece. Love that one.
It's a great looking painting.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, hold on, let me. Oh yeah, okay. I wanted to see 26 tall. Okay, so not quite as large as some of the other ones you have, but still, it's a nice size. Good.
Yeah,
size.
it's pretty typical for his work. They're usually around 24 to 26.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Some guys, they just, some artists, they just like to work at a certain size. That's what they're comfortable with, and they kind of stick to a traditional same. They'll move around on size sometimes depending on the project, but a lot of artists like to just sort of, especially painters, they really like to stick to a particular size, because that's just what it's the comfort and how it allows them to put certain details and do certain things and with the paints,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's,
and I think that one is more, I think it's more around like 18 by 26, something like that. I think the measurement was different there, but yeah.
Oh, did I make a mistake again?
You know what? Forget I said anything.
How the hell is this? What's going on? I'm taking it from your. I'm copying it. How could I be making that many mistakes? Okay, I'm gonna have to check afterwards, but it's nutty, man. Okay, so Knight says he'd rather have the RE mag cover on my wall. Well, whatever. Different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah, different taste, yeah. But Boris certainly is known for the Conan-inspired artwork.
And awesome collection, Jeremy. Karen says, have a great night. She has to leave. Yeah, so good night to you, Karen. Thank you. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, we got the, let's see, Night Karen. Oh, 1 like the 40. Yeah, everybody, please hit the thumbs up button if you don't mind, right below the screen here. Thank you. Good night. A lot of big pieces. Are these pieces on stretched canvas? I would think that most of them are on illustration board, right?
The Boris and Julie are on board, yes, but the RE piece is stretched canvas.
RE piece is stretched canvas. Interesting.
Yeah, it's mounted to like a wooden frame and masonite behind it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
very interesting. Yeah, I would have bet money that all of them. I would have bet money that none of them were stretched canvas. I would have thought all illustration board. You know.
Yeah. Certainly for Boris and Julie. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. He wants to know, is storage an issue at all?
Well,
it can be, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, generally they're fairly easy to store in portfolios or flat files, but if you have stuff framed, that's where it becomes an issue.
But how would you find them easy to store? Flat files, yeah, but in portfolios, you have some.
I have like a giant zip up portfolio.
Oh, okay, the carry case portfolio.
Yeah, the carry. Yeah,
that's different. Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Thanks, Nick. Thank you for rallying those likes. I appreciate it as always. Oh, and by the way, you weren't here before, but just so you know, I did your promo while you were not here. So it's not that I've forgotten. Ruben the COVID adult. Well, not anymore. Just the cough. Pat Bear says, Boris and Julie Bell have done some amazing stuff. True. I really love some of their Marvel trading card images. Well, yeah, they had a lot of
some Boris pieces, like the Thanos piece went for like 60-something thousand on Comic Link or something.
Okay.
Connect, I forget which one.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're up and Stain says, did they move signature because they had to, or was it a selling point? On what piece did they move this signature? Did you know? I didn't even notice that. Was it the piece we just showed, perhaps? Let me see. I guess it must have been. Hold on. Let me get your. No, I got to get your. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was. Oh, yeah, that's right. They moved it. Right. That's right. Interesting.
Yeah. So they did do that. They actually, the ones that Julie painted, they took her name out and replaced them with Boris. And there's some thought that, maybe they worked on them together. And I don't know if it's totally clear or not, but this specific company that was releasing these did like trading cards along with posters of all the work that Julie and Boris did for them.
Okay. Sanford says, is Ruddell's other work on canvas too? He's surprised.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. You're welcome, Nick. My pleasure. And Marcus says, okay, Nick had a special request for Friday's show. Yes, we want you to give out personal massagers, Nick, just so you know. And probably for Onslaught. Probably what? The
signature. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably wasn't visible enough because they were kind of marketing those games with Boris.
Oh, right.
Artwork.
Oh, yeah. So if you're, I mean, for Boris, it's like an exception rather than the rule, right? It's kind of like if you're going to use him, you might as well get some promo out of it, right? And that promo that it's him doing the work, right?
Yeah.
To push the product. So yeah, you're definitely not going to wipe out his signature to hide it from everybody. If you're gonna remove it from where it is, it better be at least pasted back on somewhere else, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, everybody, let's check out what next piece we have to gander at here in Jeremy's collection, and we're gonna do another crossover with comic art, fellas. Here we go.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man Mysterio's Menace by a very, very popular artist and late and departed Mike Wieringo in 2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And this was another purchase off of a fellow cast member.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You just reached out like that the same way as the first time?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I collect video game stuff. I love this piece. And yeah, we made a deal.
Okay. That's cool. Again, with you being the guy to come up with the price and make an offer?
I'm trying to remember exactly how that went down.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but
yeah, I think we both kind of figured out some kind of price, but he'd had it for a while and he didn't seem like he wanted to gouge me on it.
Okay.
So I thought it was pretty reasonable. So I was
Okay.
happy.
Okay, yeah. No, very cool. I can't believe this thing's already 22, almost 23 years old. That's like,
Yeah, and it's a
wow.
very early Game Boy Advance title.
Yeah, it's really neat. At first, I thought, oh, I was like, oh, maybe I should sort of blow it up, cropping up the top and bottom so I can have it at the same size as the published version, side by side. And sometimes I do that on the slides, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, but I want people to see what the original actually looks like, you know. So that's why I just included the whole thing and
yeah, it's a nice looking original too, and it's not small like the Game Boy boxes. It's actually on most of the comic board.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I assume because I mean you had 11 by 17, so it's like a standard comic board, right?
Yeah.
And Kavi says, that's so cool. Remember the game on GBA? Pretty good Spidey game for that period.
Yeah, and I was someone who loved the Spider-Man N64 game from Activision. And that cover is just digital work, but
okay.
This was kind of the only option for that series of games because this is directly tied to that one.
Okay. Jay has I guess, kind of a question for you. That's cool having that niche, Jeremy, but much more difficult, I assume.
Overall, because you have to have a lot of knowledge when you're going into it, like just even figuring out what artist is responsible for what is quite a challenge sometimes.
Right.
Now there are more resources than there used to be, but it's a lot of legwork and correspondence and
right. And as these hobbies, oh sure, yeah. As these hobbies develop, the nice thing though is that these sort of like Facebook groups sort of develop. They come out and all these fans that are into the same thing sort of they kind of become a good resource that they help each other, and that's how you find out a lot of things from each other, right? And that's how it helps the hobby grow. And
and I don't know if Dan Maresca is still here, but he was a big help early on when I started collecting.
Nice, look at that.
He's been in this for a long
Dan
time.
Maresca.
Yeah, he would be inundated with messages from me being like, "Oh, look what I found! I found this piece. It's so cool."
Oh man. Yeah. So I mean, but that's part of the fun too, though. Collecting is, I've always found, is learning. I've always sort of dug deep and into the history of whatever I'm into, and I think that's part of the whole fun of it,
Yeah. It's not as easy as just looking at a box.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
to go further.
Yeah, exactly. We also have, CJ says, that's why I wondered about Wolvie. Someone may think, hey, it's a pinup. Right. Because it's just kind of a blank board, whatever, with a, Wolverine black and white pen and ink image. And if you don't really know anything, it's, that could have been just, some little drawing he decided to do at home and then he sold to some collector or whatever, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got to know your shit. And that helps a lot, Dan is there. Sanford says most of us owe our starts to Dan. Look at that.
True.
Wow. Is Dan is Canadian Dan the godfather of video game art collecting, or because I'm just having trouble thinking that it would be a Canadian guy. Like, it's just wow.
Yeah, Dan and another gentleman, Adam Harvey, were kind of the OG collectors and sourcers of video game art, and they had the the foresight, over a decade ago to go after this stuff. And, a lot of what has been saved is thanks to them.
Okay. Wow. It's hard to believe that you're saying, over a decade ago. I'm thinking only just over a decade ago. Like,
I know. Yeah, it's a very new.
Nobody was really paying attention to this stuff and looking for it, seriously looking to acquire it before that. Like, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's really wild. Wow. Yeah, blame Canada.
Yeah, it's kind of like the last bastion of original artwork that's unexploited. It's kind of a blue ocean.
Right. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say the last bastion, because I would say movie poster art to a degree, but only because most of it was kept by the studios. So there isn't enough out there of any consequence for collectors who want that stuff to you can't really, like, you can't establish a market for it because there's so little of it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, maybe there's probably a lot more than video game art, though. I think there's a lot more movie poster art available, especially early stuff.
I would agree on the, like, I've seen quite a bit of, poster art from crappy movies you've never heard of, but like classic movies, I don't think I've seen.
I mean, the poster art for E.T. was sold fairly recently.
I remember that. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's such a, movie poster art can go all the way back to
20s,
30s.
To the 20s, 30s. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like video game art, we have a decade, maybe even less.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I think in general, I would say there's probably a lot more movie poster artwork available.
Right. But I got another one for you. What about one that I've always loved and I wished I could get into? It's just there's none out there, which is album cover art. I mean, music. What's more worldwide beloved than music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, like LP album art. Like, I would love to see the originals from, like, my God, I can't even tell you how many decades worth of music. Like, it would be so amazing to see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really see it. I've seen a handful of pieces, but that's it, So it's kind of like, there's just no market for it because there's none of that stuff out there,
Or it's been hoarded and there's not a lot that has come to secondary as
right.
well.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And before we just show that next piece, let me just show what NHL lineup cards are. You can't make me laugh because I'm going to cough. So it's an inside joke. It's an unboxing I just did that Marcus sent me a gift. And that was one of the things inside the gift, which I didn't know what the hell they were. And he had to explain it to me. And anyways, okay. Yes, it is. They're very hard to find. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. D&D art is overrated, says John. Hey, what's up, John? No one wants that stuff. Yeah, trust me. Everybody wants that stuff. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Poster art is crazy. A few guys I know own a lot of it. Black holes. Yeah, see that, but that doesn't make it
popped up on CAF as well.
Yeah.
Says,
yeah. I own movie poster art for a 1979 XXX flick, which, how often were they actually painted? Like, that's kind of weird, right? Like a painted poster for a porn flick. But that's, I don't know. I liked it. It's kind of cool.
Who knows? Yeah. I have some Greg Winters movie artwork in my collection as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what else? Dan says, there's a Facebook group for movie art too. Oh, I'm sure. Some big titles out there owned in that group. Okay.
And that poor group got shut down by Facebook and they had to restart it. So there's
why?
So many. I don't remember exactly what happened. But yeah, a lot of great posts and
it gets wiped out forever. That's the thing, right? It's like, it's terrible. That's what I hate about Facebook. It's like, and I've heard of that happening, and for stupid reasons, for unexplained reasons, and it's like, can you imagine all those years of accumulated sort of knowledge and images that are in there, and you can't access them anymore. You know, movie and music mostly went to people who never need to sell anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
A lot of artists probably.
Music, there was Pink Floyd. God, there's a Floyd that sold for $2 million. An album art? I don't remember. The Zeppelin one sold recently on a Zeppelin album art sold on Heritage. For what album?
The Marvin Gaye album artwork sold recently too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But in Heritage, because there's just not enough of it for them to even do, dedicated auctions. So would they have put that in like one of their guitar auctions or music auctions where it's all like kind of just generally music related stuff?
Yeah, maybe a music memorabilia auction or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. There's a good amount of it at the Rock and Roll Hall. Well, that's different. Hall of Fame, we can't acquire that stuff. Other museums, not as much as you think. Yeah. Tupac. What about him? Not Tip Max. Huh? I'm not. Those are going over my head, Dan. Sorry. I want some of those Mannix buttons and stickers. Okay. Video game companies were really bad at saving their stuff. A lot of source code for the actual games has even been lost. Really? The source code?
Yeah. Wow. A lot of these companies went, boom and bust in short periods of time. So
if
they had storage of things, they would just dump it.
Yeah.
Often. Yeah.
Marcus, I think the movie you're thinking of is called Behind the Green Door, with a very famous actress. Well, I forget her name, but she was very famous at the time. Debbie Does Dallas? I know you're alluding to that, but the poor lost Panzer Dragoon saga source code. Oh, that was part of it. What got lost? Interesting. Green Door, the house where I saw the personal massager. That dad had a copy of the Green Door too. Thank you, guys. Personal massager. Okay. Enough. Let's get to the next video. The one piece of tonight's show and tell is not a piece of video game art, but we wanted to show it because it's just cool art. It's painted, and the subject matter, the content is both in comics and in video games anyway. So let's all take a look at that one, shall we?
Yeah. Fleming.
Very cool.
So this comic cover is the first time anyone in the world would have seen a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah. And so that's at least 3 years before.
4 years. Yeah.
4 years? Wow.
Yeah. Although they developed the concept as an official thing.
Okay.
With George and Lucasfilm.
Oh.
But this is the first ever public appearance of the double-bladed lightsaber.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool, man.
Yeah, and this is all Old Republic stories, these Dark Horse comics.
Yeah, it's now Hugh Fleming, when because this is going back to 1995. Thanks, Dan. So because I remember, I'd seen these comics back then, and I was like, oh, who's this? Oh, Hugh Fleming. I don't know. Okay, some new guy. But he came from the illustration field and then got into comics, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Very Struzan-esque style.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. Sorry to keep interrupting. Getting off topic. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Behind the Green Door, Marilyn Chambers. Thank you, Dan. There we go. And thank you, CJ. You got it in there right after him. And look at that. Another Dan says, yes, Marilyn Chambers. God, you guys are like more excited about porn than you are about what we're showing here. Come on. Get your heads back in the game. Let's do this. But Kavi, there we go. Fleming, Star Wars art. Gotta love it. Well, you're a big Star Wars fan, Kavi. And so, yeah, I would think that you would really appreciate this because I know you're familiar with this stuff a lot. So.
Yeah, and this Hugh held on to a lot of these paintings.
Oh wow,
for a
really?
very long time. And when I got this, it had just hit the market. Yeah.
Okay.
And, from what I understand, George Lucas also bought a lot of artwork from Hugh Fleming.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This one miraculously made its way from Australia before George got his hands on it.
Okay. Oh, is that where he's from?
Hugh Fleming is Australian, yes.
He's Australian, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pat Bear, I cannot believe you're still with us. What is happening? You're staying up all night? What is going on? Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow. You must be on caffeine or something. Pat Bear also says, love those Dark Horse painted covers. Yeah, they were great. Big fan of Dave Dorman stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a bunch of these too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really cool. Okay. Cool. From there, we will go to the next piece, everybody. And that is going to be back to video games. I'm sure quite a lot of you gamers remember this. Let's check this one out. And let's hope I got the name right.
You did.
Art Fredrickson. There we go.
And it's an enormous painting for such a small box.
Yeah, 18 by 26. Eh? That's what I put there. So
yeah,
this is wild, man. It's beautiful. It's like so vibrant.
Yeah.
You know.
So this painting actually was the game itself was republished by Limited Run Games.
Okay.
And they had published some other Natsume rare Game Boy titles. And so I'd emailed them and I was like, hey, you guys should do a reissue of Gator. And they responded to me and said, oh, we're planning to, but we can't find a good image of the painting. And so I had it photographed for them, and they used the new photograph of the art to publish on the box.
Wow. I can't believe this goes back to 91.
Yeah, and it's Mark's, I believe, his first video game art. He's done a few titles, yeah, but this was the first thing he ever did. And I was a big Natsume fan. Like, I love Natsume titles. They're always kind of rare and good quality, but as a collector, I liked looking for Natsume stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, what is up? Bonjour, Lyle Hobson. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for dropping in. And Rick says, wild concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, with the sneaker culture.
Yeah. I love, and I look, I'm fascinated. I talk about this with some of my comic art collecting friends. We always love. In fact, I was having a conversation with one of them just, I don't know, like a few days ago. And we always talk about when we were looking through some art together, and it was like we were looking at some Batman art, and on some of the pages, it had images like this, where you're looking, up from the bottom, and you're looking at the underside of Batman's foot, and you'd see, all this ultra detail, grips and whatnot, the tread of the under the boot. And we're always like, yeah, I love that. I love when the artists put all the detail in or whatever, of the shoes. So yeah, that's really neat. And of course, like you said, this is an actual sneaker, and there's a whole cottage industry of sneaker heads out there. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I think about this as being wild that it's from 1991, and I say that because, again, even though I'm not a gamer, in 1990, after never having owned I never getting the Atari 2600 or whatever, in 1990 I was 20 years old, so I had my own money, and I decided to buy this new fandangled thing they'd come out with called Gameboy. And I was like, it was just so freaky to see something with such a tiny little screen. And literally, I bought it because when I saw the cartridges were like this small, I was like, that is so cute. Like, I got to buy it just for that,
Yeah.
And yeah. So I had a little bit of fun with that and whatever, but it still never turned me into a gamer, you know? But
it's a tough console to collect for. Is
it really?
Very difficult to build a set.
If you're really?
Yeah. Game Boy titles are pretty rare.
Okay. Would that be because you mean titles that are still mint in box, like sealed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Gator is, once in a blue moon you'll find one with an original box. And maybe once every 5 to 10 years you'll see a sealed one. Like I've only seen one sealed one. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Why would something like Game Boy cartridges have mostly been opened up, and yet all the other consoles seemingly still have all these cartridges that, like enough to fill up auction houses every few months. Like, why? How does that? How do you explain that?
I don't know. I mean, the rarer titles just didn't have large print runs, and
That's
in
true
general,
too.
there's very few sealed. I mean, in general, you see a lot of sealed stuff at auctions, but if you look at the pops of those kinds of things, sometimes it's like there's 30 copies of any given title. Sometimes 20, sometimes 50, depends on the title, but in general, there's very
says the
there's
same
very
thing.
few.
Certain titles, like you just said, certain titles didn't have large print runs.
Yeah.
And finding them
complete
closed in box, is that
complete?
Okay, complete in box or sealed is tough. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus says cheaper cartridges sell. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Marcus? The big consoles cartridges cost more and may sit.
Yeah, I think Game Boy games were cheaper, if I remember. I don't know.
Okay. I don't remember, but okay, cool. That's my connection to video games. There you go. All right, everybody. Let's check out the next piece. This is an interesting one. This is a game we all play. This was the game. Well, not this exact game. This is the second version. The first one of this is the one that they gave free with the Game Boy when at least when I bought my Game Boy in 1990. Check this out, everyone. Tetris, but it's Tetris 2. Obviously, I'm talking about Tetris 1. A few years earlier, but tell us a little bit about this one, because obviously, let me say something before you speak, if you don't mind, Jeremy.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I know that you have this one in your cap gallery, and you mentioned in your cap gallery that I don't know why they didn't go ahead and use this one. This one's better, and I agree with you as an image that I like the image better. But to me, thinking as an art director, I think I do know why it had to be changed, because I'm thinking as the art director and knowing that this is for a game, and if you understand the game. The painting, when you look at it, it immediately evokes an idea of, like what happens in this game? Well, it's some kind of explosion, and it's going to throw out all these sort of Lego-looking pieces everywhere, which, of course, we all know Tetris doesn't have, any explosions happening, and the pieces only do move kind of like down in straight lines. And so I think, again, this is just supposition, but I do believe that that's why they had to change it. I think the art director said, look, the way the game works is these blocks keep moving down in straight lines. And so I kind of, and there's no explosion happening. So I think that's why they had to change it. I just wanted to point that out. And I think that's why.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing too is Tetris 2 featured a bomb game mechanic. And in the commercials, if you watch the original commercials, they actually have explosions.
Okay, so I take all that back, everybody, because again, not being a gamer, I was only thinking of Tetris 1, of course. Yeah. So I never knew that about Tetris 2. So okay, I take it all back. Everything I said, I apologize. Okay, so now you can make your case, Jeremy, for why this artwork should have been used, and I'll agree with you.
Well, you know what, this artist in particular, Dave Hardo, he's responsible for a lot of artwork for Nintendo. I have a Super Nintendo cover of his. There are many paintings for Nintendo Power that he has done that are in the collection of the Interactive Art Collection. The Wario artwork that you saw before, that was his artwork as well. Okay. So he was someone who Nintendo used quite often to paint things.
Okay. Yes, I believe this would be airbrush acrylic paint with airbrush, probably.
That's right. Yeah. And actually, if you switch back to the camera, I took it off the wall here because I made my own box mock-up for it.
Oh, awesome.
So you can see what it would have looked like had it would have been published.
Oh, man. You're good at that, man. You do a good job. Holy shit. That's cool. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what it should have looked like.
Yeah. Oh, well. At least it looks like that way in your house.
That's right. I get to enjoy it.
That's it.
And there's also not a lot of Tetris artwork out there for collectors. So I'm happy to have a piece from that franchise.
I mean, that's from 93, and that's number 2. How many Tetrises ultimately were made after number 2? How many did they go? How far did they go?
Well, there's like There's the alternate version on NES as well. The one with the what do you call it? The Russian buildings.
Oh,
I forget the name.
that's
But
interesting.
yeah, there's a few different covers for Tetris.
Oh, those famous Russian buildings.
Yeah, with the artwork on the swirly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't
me
remember
too.
the name. In St. Petersburg, probably, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are several Tetris covers out there. Tengen, yeah, someone said it on the chat. The Tengen Tetris.
Okay.
Is yeah, that's Mark Erickson who did that artwork. But
okay.
I don't know if it's been found. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, let me catch up on some of these cool comments. A movie was made on Tetris. I seem to remember that.
Correct.
Yeah. How long
Pretty
ago
recently,
were we talking about? Like not
Very
long
recently.
ago.
Like last year.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah.
So weird. Did it bomb?
I thought it got pretty good reviews. I
Oh, yeah?
know, I haven't seen
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. He says though, it isn't indicative of gameplay. Okay. Oh, you mean the painting or the movie? I guess you probably mean the painting because you followed it up with awesome piece though. Yeah, I guess you're talking about the painting. Okay. The Tetris Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Starburst Factory. It does look like a Starburst explosion. We're up and staying. Game Boy was the only system I never kept my boxes as a kid for because I opened them in the car to play right away.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Interesting, because no matter where I would have opened them, I've always been such a fanatic for like I never threw away my packaging for anything, So it doesn't matter where I would have opened it, I would have just kept the packaging because I like the art.
That's an interesting angle. Yeah, interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. Wow, Kavi and I have the same. We're coming from the same place on one thing at least. I only played the original also. Okay. So that's why, I didn't know that they introduced explosions into it. Okay, cool. Game Boy game boxes were usually destroyed before I got home too. Okay, another guy. All right. Getting Dr.
Mario is like a Tetris style game. Yeah.
Okay, Mario vibes from that. Okay, cool. Awesome display. The way you displayed it. Loves your framing job. That's cool. Yeah, that's a great job on the Tetris 2 mock-up. Yeah, great presentation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not sure why you mentioned Tengen.
Yeah, Tengen was the alternate Tetris, the unlicensed version.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tetris? Any idea, Jeremy? No? Okay. It's okay over our heads on that one. All right. Nikki B, you're back to rally more likes. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, everybody, get me to 50, please. That'd be awesome. Thanks, Nick. Screaming movie? Oh, man.
Tetris movie. Streaming movie. Yeah.
Sorry, I misread it. Streaming. Oh, it was only streaming?
I think so.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. That's why I wasn't all that aware of yeah. Okay. Tetris movie was good. Wow. It's on Apple. Okay. Thanks, Kavi.
Taron Egerton or something is the actor? I forget.
Okay. Yeah, who knows? I'll take your word for it. Marcus thinks that I actually read the instructions before playing the games. You know what, Marcus? I never had, again, other than the Game Boy, which, by the way, I got the Tetris because it came free, and I only ever bought the baseball. I was only into wanting to play sports, and I just bought baseball. And that's all I ever used it for. And so I never bought any other video games. But I can say for things like, board games. I used to love board games. For board games, I am that person. I am that guy. I will admit it. I'm that guy who, before we start the game, we're not going to figure it out on our own. Let me sit here and read the instructions slowly. So we know that we're going to play correctly right from the get-go. Yeah, that's me.
Well, you know what? It's actually a compliment because game instruction manuals back then were so interesting and they had lots of artwork and
yeah. I don't know if he meant it as a compliment though, so whatever.
Sometimes they had comic books inside the instruction manuals. One of the things I got from Raphael Kayanan was some of the original pages from the Turok comic that was inside the Turok 64 instruction manual.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I mean, I do remember because my next door neighbor had the Atari 2600. They came out with this game. The name escapes me right now, but they inserted a small comic book that was about this tall into each box, a cartridge box. And lo and behold, the artwork was by George Perez.
Oh.
And, you know, so it was like, what? Like, wow, you know? And so that was kind of fun and cool, you know? So yeah, there's just some cool things. There's always been some cool crossover with comics and movies and video games, you know? Real men don't use instructions. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take your.
I'd love to see the IKEA stuff in Rich's house.
Ruben read Atari for us before he got an Atari. No, in fact, just so you know, Marcus, I've never read a single word of Atari Force comics, only because I remember when it came out thinking, what the hell is that? I've never seen any of these characters on any cartridge of an Atari game. To this day, in fact, I still don't even know. Did it have anything to do with Atari video games? I guess it did, but like, but those characters in the comic, I've never seen them on video games. I
don't know the exact connection there.
Yeah, don't know. It's a weird connection there. So there you go. Carl says, I remember that Turok comic. Incredibly cool find. Yep.
Yeah.
Instructions equals manufacturer's suggestions. Yeah, there you go. Okay, everybody, let's check out the next piece. Why don't we? Going from Tetris and crossing over again into the comic book field, comic art field. Love this one a lot. It's another unpublished piece, everybody. Check this out, because this is one of those where I love the unpublished piece way more, even though I'm a fan of the unpublished, of the artist who did the ultimate published piece. So check this out, everybody. X-Men 2, Clone Wars for the Sega Genesis, unused box art by Chris Moeller, who, of course, you guys know, did some painted work in comics from the 90s onward. Did some, what do you call it, art? What's the famous, not Dungeons and Dragons, what's the most famous card game from the
Magic.
last? Magic, thank you,
MTG,
yes.
yeah.
MTG, yeah. Did stuff for Magic. And I just want to say, Jeremy, before you can tell us a little bit about this, what I loved about this, and I don't know if you're going to be familiar yourself, but I saw this piece and I was like, wow, it looks like Chris Moeller doing, like, I could see it's his paint, but it looks like the drawing, it looks like he's trying to emulate Mobius. And I don't know how familiar, if you have any familiarity with Mobius, but that's what this is. Looks like a combination of Mobius drawing and Moeller painting Mobius's line work. It's just, I don't know. It's just thought it's really cool. And for those of you who don't recognize it, in case you don't recognize it, the published box art ultimately ended up being done by fellow Canadian Ken Stacy. And who I've always been a fan of. But in this case, I definitely do not like the Ken Stacy art very much. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I love the original here by Chris Moeller, man. But
it's also the background on Ken's piece has been replaced as well. It's a different background in the original.
Oh, is it? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a photo of it handy, but yeah, you can.
Okay.
Can Google it, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
so this was one of the very first pieces I got as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and this came from Anthony Snyder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had it on his website.
Wow, that's funny.
And I was like, that's cool. Not published, but it's enormous and cheap. So I bought it.
Oh, that's good. Oh, the fact that it was cheap, even better.
Yeah, I think it was like I don't even remember what I paid for, like $1,000 or something, $850.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know.
Oh, that's really affordable, man.
Yeah. So I was happy because I could actually afford it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rich, for the reminding me that it was the Sword Quest games. Thank you. Okay, board games are getting popular again. More board games than graphic novels at my local Barnes and Nobles. Okay. Yeah, I love them. I always love them. It's just I've never had enough people to play with, so I never get to play. And yeah, so there you go, Kavi. You know Christopher Moeller. Yes, thank you. Yeah, the MTG stuff, Magic. Yep. Different for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I love it. I love the unpublished much better. Marcus, for some reason, wants to know if you have any love for Sword Quest art from George Perez. Just because I asked about it. a few pages from that, of which I've seen hit the market over the years. Yeah, but I don't think anybody cares too much about it. Pat Bear, wow, you're still with us. In the UK, we used to get comic art stories inside video game magazines. Computer and Video Games magazine had stories and covers drawn by Marvel and 2000 AD artists like Jerry Paris and Simon Bisley. Wow, that's fun. Thank you for letting us know that, Pat Bear. That's really cool. And yeah, Ruben, the lonely, no games to play. Exactly. Exactly. Marcus, I just got an unplugged sword quest piece from Anthony last year. George's original pencils. Hey, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's nice. And nicer pencils, because as much as I love Dick Giordano, I was not a big fan of how he inked the Sword Quest stuff. So, what about failed Quest Probe comic book art? Do you even remember Quest Probe? Because I remember the comic, and when the comic came out, it was Quest Probe, and I think it had this weird alien guy who looked kind of like Mysterio, and then it had the Hulk in it, and I'm like, I knew it was some kind of a video game related thing, but I was like, to this day even, I've never seen a video game called Quest Probe or related to Quest Probe comics that I've seen.
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, there you go. That was an easy one, Marcus. All right, everybody, we're going to see this next piece. This next piece is kick-ass. We have only less than a handful of pieces to go, and I'm going to close this show out, everyone. So we're almost there. Let's check out this one. Well, the next, yeah, I think there's 3 left, and they're all awesome. So let's check these out. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with these. Check this out.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Fellow Canadian, Mark Heine.
Man, another one?
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Tonight's the night for us, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh, Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. So this piece was actually, it has his signature on it, but it's so small you can't see it on the box, which is partially why I think no one found it for so many years.
Okay, good. But I'm looking on the painting here. Where is it on the painting?
So it's on the ship. Let me.
I think I'm looking.
I can grab the painting here.
Okay. Oh, maybe we can see the actual one in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me come back to you and do. Oops.
I have to do this carefully. It's like Tetris here.
All right.
All right.
There we go. As big as possible.
It is big.
So we can all see. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It weighs a ton, of course.
I need to see where I'm pointing here. So,
Wow.
The signature is right in here.
Oh, that's where I thought. Okay, that's what that's the area.
You can see it.
Yeah, it's the area I was looking at. It's the only area that looked like it might have some writing. Although, to be honest, there it is. Yes. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can't actually really see it on the box.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's cool, man. Thank you for showing us that. Wow. Yeah. So big. Wow.
It's big, yeah.
Yeah. So neat. Sweet Heine. Nice. Let's see. Quest Probe. Sorry, we're going back for a bit. Quest Probe is used in XXX films. What the hell are you talking about? Okay. What about? Okay, that's what you asked before. Personal probes. The Quest Probe character art was drawn by Byrne. Oh, that was in the. I think he did that for the Marvel Universe thing. Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. Airbrush, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some hand brush techniques in R-Type as well, but yeah, there's airbrush.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mixed medium, I guess we would say.
Mixed media, yeah. I sense a theme with the Canadian artists tonight. Coincidence, honestly, because I didn't know about any of their nationalities, and I'm the one who picked. Well, no, that's true. Jeremy picked. That's true. Jeremy did pick a bunch of them, and I picked the other sort of whatever, almost the other half, whatever.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to show this one because it's a more well-regarded Super Nintendo title.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of shoot 'em ups.
Yeah, let's. I mean, we didn't show it enough, so I want to put that back up there. Yeah, love hidden signature by artists. There we go. Let me get your thing now. Yeah, I mean it's just absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, Jeremy, I can see how like the area, like the bottom right quadrant, let's call it, whatever you want to call that wave of interstellar blue, purplish, whatever that is. That's, you can see that that's traditionally, appears to be traditionally painted. And then of course most of it is like the spaceship lines. You can see a lot of the airbrush technique there, you know. But yeah, it's fantastic. Let's show everybody what the box looks like for you guys to hit your nostalgia button again. I know Kavi remembers this. My gosh, Jalico. Oh, I remember that. Wow. Whatever happened to Jalico, by the way?
I think they, when did they go under, or they were bought out or something?
That's why. Yeah. Because that's
originally R-Type is IREM. It's an IREM published property, but IREM was having troubles in the early to mid 90s. So Jalico ended up publishing this game instead of IREM.
Okay, I stand corrected. I always said as a kid, I said Jalico. So okay,
maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually know.
Who the heck knows? Okay, but yeah, it's really, really, really great. Let me see. Marcus says pew pew pew.
Yeah, and this one is actually split screen. They developed this R-Type specifically for the Super Nintendo, so there's none of that slowdown that really plagued the other entry in the series. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sucked at these, but still had fun playing them.
They are difficult. Oh yeah.
Okay. As long as it isn't LJN. And Dan says, "Great art, Jeremy. I suddenly need a personal massager. Would you stop it?"
I know Dan likes that one.
Okay.
I chose it just for you, Dan.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's check out the next piece. A couple more to go, everyone. And for that, oh wow. Okay, so this is such a great piece. There's a little bit of a story behind it because it's not the published piece. Yeah, give us the background on this, and as I go toggle between the two slides, 4 pictures. Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, so one of the greatest games of all time.
Wow.
So Mike Sass, I'm sure many people know his Blizzard World of Warcraft artwork, his MTG art, Star Wars card art as well.
Okay.
He did this. He was BioWare's principal marketing artist at the time, and he did this cover all digitally back then.
Right.
He primarily paints with oils now.
Okay, so just sorry to interrupt that, Jeremy. For everybody watching, not only the live crew here, but those of you watching on Rewind, just so you understand, what you're looking at on the right-hand side was the original box art, but that was done on a computer completely, right, Jeremy? Yeah,
yes.
Completely digitally. So there is no actual physical original art for that. It's just a digital file. And what you're looking at in the frame on the left-hand side is a commission, a recreation of the digital version of the, well, I guess you still call it a painting, but done. So this recreation is done in oils as well, because that's what he works in, correct? Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a recreation. Okay. And remind me, what year was the actual digital version? When did that come out?
2002, I think.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So almost a couple of decades later that he did this, right? And yeah, check this, everybody. Here's another view without the glare on the framed piece, and a picture of Jeremy picking it up. I guess you're picking it up. Is that where you are, at his house?
Yeah, that's right. He lives in Edmonton. So
is he another Canadian?
He is. BioWare was based in Edmonton.
Wow. Holy crap. It is a night for Canada tonight. Woo! Oh, loving it. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I mean, my gosh, not only do you get to pick it up from him, but it's not like you have to, let me get on a plane or did you?
No, I drove.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So it's nice. You get in your car, you make the trip out and you get to spend some time with him at his home. I mean, that's so awesome, man. So awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah,
tell us more of whatever you want to tell us a little bit about the experience of, when he told you it was done and was it always planned that you would go get it, or did you kind of, when he said it's ready, you kind of thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I can pick it up, or maybe he said, hey, do you want to come and pick it up, or how did that all happen?
Well, I told him where I'm from, and so when it was ready, we'd never really talked about it, but as the day kind of approached, I was like, hey, what if I just take a trip out there? And he said, sure, and we'll go for dinner, and yeah, we had a great time.
Wow.
Yeah, and this piece actually is kind of interesting the way he did it. So what he ended up doing is there's a published poster of the box art for the game.
Okay.
And we discovered sort of in the process that they used the wrong file for the Xbox box art. They used the unfinished version. So there are details missing in Malik's forehead and various other places that they just used the wrong file. And so we decided we took the poster, which is quite large. He scanned it in and he printed it onto vinyl canvas in basically very light tones, like uncolored tones. So that saved him the effort of having to retrace it all. And so this kind of made sure he'd get a totally accurate rendering of it.
Right.
Yeah. So he printed it onto this vinyl canvas and then layered his acrylic base coat for, light values, and then started doing the oils on top. So it's a really crazy, accurate rendering.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just, it's stunningly accurate. Like, it's so amazing how accurate it is. You're like, what? How is because when you look at these side by side, and believe me, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I've got a very keen eye. And I looked at these as I set them up like this side by side, and I was like, I'm going back and forth, my eyes going back and forth, back. And I'm like, usually when I've seen, somebody get a recreation of a digital piece, like, you can tell it's not, you can tell it's not the same thing. But with this, I would not blame anybody for being fooled to thinking that, oh, the left piece is the original art that was shot, that, they shot so that they could publish that box on the right.
Yeah.
Like, it's that accurate, right?
It's amazing how accurate his colors are as well. Like, he got the colors.
Yes,
pretty
everything.
Spot on.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And actually, when we did it, a lot of people told me, they were like, we didn't even know that was the Starforge behind Malik until we decided to do it without the titles. So it was kind of interesting too.
Yeah. Like Marcus says, no digital blur. That's the thing. Like, it looks like the same. It's just phenomenal. It's so stunning. Yeah, awesome, says Kavi. So too does Knights of Old, of course. Canada, yes, sir. And it's amazing how many of your pieces are Canadian, Jeremy. There we go.
It's true. Yeah, kind of unintentionally, but.
And Dan, of course, is smiling for it. Slight differences in the cape folds. Yeah, listen.
Also, I believe the image on the right here is from the Xbox version. So this is the rather unfinished one. There's a poster version that is more accurately resembling the painting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick, listen. I'm not claiming there is not. You're not going to find differences if you keep eyeing it meticulously. But if you've ever seen other people recreate their digital pieces, I mean, those are apparent almost immediately that, oh, it's a recreation of your digital work. This is like the best I've ever seen. Like I said, the paint texture. I mean, he made the painting look like it's a digital piece. Like it's phenomenal, spectacular.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of work. And he initially going into it, he was worried of how much work it would be.
Yeah.
But he ended up having to turn down work from Blizzard to finish it.
Oh wow.
But yeah, he was very proud of it at the end, and yeah, I don't think he'll ever do another one just because of how much effort it was.
Oh no, yeah, I would imagine I wouldn't be surprised at all for sure. It's truly fantastic. And just wanted to say, Kavi, I put it up, posted it up, his comment. He said it's hands down the best Star Wars game he's ever played.
It's universally known as just period one of the great games of
all
all time.
Is it?
Not
so
even
it's
the best Star Wars games. It's one of the great games of all time. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. One last look here, everybody, at this. Really, really, really cool. Wow. That's man, because that's really big. Because for that to be true, you need people who, let's say, typically wouldn't care about something like a Star Wars video game to have tried it, like played it, and thought, wow, this is an awesome game. You know, that's how it becomes like a universal sort of opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of the great story twists of all time. It's known as like one of the great pieces of written work as well.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's cool. Cool to know. See, there we go. Dropping knowledge again. Thank you, man. That's pretty awesome.
I played so many hours of that game when it came out.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, so very cool. Let us now, everyone, get to the next piece. Okay, so we got a couple of pieces here, everybody. Check this out. A lot of you, I'm sure, are going to appreciate this. But we'll let Jeremy tell us why this should be even more appreciated than normally would think so. Check this out. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the title art. Tell us about this.
So this is kind of a part 1 of 2 here, but I don't actually know if any other Sonic title paintings exist. Maybe Dan or Sanford can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
And I apologize again, Duncan. I'm so sorry, Duncan.
Yes, Duncan.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see this title art on all kinds of signage, posters, T-shirts, a crazy amount of stuff. This was everywhere in Europe at the time.
Wow. And yeah, 24 by 18. That's nice.
It's
nice size too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and just going back for a moment to the Knights of the Old Republic, Kavi says, great game, best Star Wars game, and one of the best overall games too. I'd agree. There you go. So yeah.
BioWare at its peak.
Yeah, shiny it is. Well, that's what you get when you get airbrush, or at least on the Sonic 2 portion. Yes, it's Duncan. All right, fine. I really screwed this up big time. Sorry. Definitely a Sega Grail right there. Wow. Okay, so Kavi appreciates this. He understands that even though it's just the title, that it's something to be appreciated for what it is. You know. Yeah, very much so. And I'm not sure he does. I guess we'll help. Well, maybe we'll find out someday if he forgives me. Kavi, we'll see. But I'm eternally sorry for that. But anyways, but guys, here's the cool part about this piece is that not only does Jeremy have this, but he also has the original art to this.
Yeah, so the one on the right here is the original Greg Martin box cover art, and the one on the left is Duncan Gutteridge's version of it for the European market. So Sega Europe at the time wanted its own distinctive look, so they had a bunch of unique artwork created for their marketing campaign, and they based that painting off of Greg Martin's. So in this one, you'll see it on all kinds of signage. There's a release poster that features this artwork. There was a calendar which featured many of Duncan Gutteridge's paintings.
Okay.
Yeah, and the title art goes directly with this one. They were used on the same sorts of signage, but it was one of the biggest marketing campaigns in Europe ever.
Wow.
And still is, apparently.
Copy says he loves Sonic doing the peace sign.
Yeah. 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly, it's for the number, and that's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, Kavi, because and that you, Jeremy, just said the 2, because when I was putting the slide together and I'm looking at it, I was like, oh, it's so cool that he's doing the peace sign, just like Kavi said. And as soon as I thought that, I'm like, oh, wait a second, no, that's for number 2, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very neat, very neat. Marcus says that he's becoming a fan of Dan too. Oh, shut up.
That's his evil twin brother.
Yeah, exactly. Used in ads for sure. Yeah. So, but did I at least get the year correct?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. So 92.
It did come out in 1992. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So really, I think, I'm obviously biased because I own it, but I think it's one of the great Sonic pieces for sure. And unfortunately, Greg Martin's artwork, we think was lost in a flood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had a basement flood many years ago, and lost a bunch of paintings, and we think Sonic 2 was among them, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So where Greg Martin is the American Sonic artist, more or less, Duncan is the European Sonic artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And We're Up and Staying is saying, funny that Sonic and Tails shave 4 fingers, but Eggman 1 has 3.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, isn't it?
Let me see. Oh, yeah. Huh. What do you know? But that's what happens oftentimes is, whatever. It's kind of like you're doing it with concept art. You're doing it one way, and in one country, in another country, you do it another way. And sometimes it's just a mistake and nobody catches it, Yeah. But they're interesting little differences. That's also kind of part of the fun of seeing stuff like this, right? When you catch little differences where you're like, hey, wait a second, why is this like this and that like that? It shouldn't be like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can grab the painting here too. It's probably
excellent.
Checking out.
John says that's why he's angry. Yeah. Cuckoo Kachoo. Nice. And Sanford says he's holding his pinky out to be polite. Okay. Let me come back to all of you guys.
All right.
And let me go here.
We can do the title art first.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah. It's it looks way bigger in person. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Wow, really neat.
And then la pièce de résistance.
La pièce de résistance. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I can't.
Holy crap.
There we go.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good enough. Yeah. It's really neat, man.
It's really lovely work.
Wow. So cool. Yeah. And I'm not, as I said, I'm not a gamer, and yet I am familiar with the image,
Mm-hmm.
So that's how kind of like a good test of knowing, how much visibility certain pieces of art got, when people who are not into the subject matter per se still remember seeing it around from back in the day, 30 whatever years ago,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's amazing. I am he as you are he. What? Too late for me to be trying to figure out your little riddles, man. Sweet. What a game and great art. Yeah, no, it's very, very awesome. Rich, so when is Jeremy going to have a gallery show with all these huge paintings?
Good question. Maybe we'll have to do something at the Society of Illustrators in New York.
Ooh. Yeah. Good luck transporting your collection of art across the border And then
that's really the tricky thing.
bringing it back in is going to be the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Both ways present potential trouble, but especially, well, maybe not for you, but here in Quebec, yeah, coming back in, oh God, what a pain. Well, listen, it's actually easy enough to do. The thing is that before you leave the country, you've got to go to the border. You got to go to the specific office where you can say, hey, I'm leaving the country with this stuff. I own it. You need to stamp my paper to show that I had this stuff before I left the country, so that when I come back in and Canadian Customs, I'm waiting to get in through Canadian Customs, they don't think, oh, do you have anything of value? Yes, I have this collection of art here. Oh, really? Oh, and what did you pay for it? Oh, no. I brought it out of the country and I'm bringing it back. Oh, really? Prove that, right? Prove it to me. Otherwise, if you can't prove it, they will probably confiscate it and they're going to get somebody to evaluate it and tell you, okay, you're going to have to pay a fee to get it back. You know, it gets crazy. So if you leave the country with it, make sure you have the government stamp something that's considered proof that you left the country with it. That's, as long as you do that, you'll be okay. You know,
right?
Yeah. But then of course there's also the potential fear of, wow, like, do you really want to travel with all that art or ship it? You know, it's scary. You know, I mean, that's why a lot of people don't like to, you know, when they're asked to, hey, would you contribute a piece of art? We're doing this moving gallery show across the United States, for example, or whatever, you know. And a lot of people I know, they're no, because oftentimes people that want to do these exhibitions, they promise a lot, and when they want your art, right, they want to put on a show. They'll tell you all these great things that you want to hear, but then in the end, when the show is over and they got to send the art back to everybody, especially to people from outside the country, they don't. You know, the person in charge is not really paying attention. They're not going to make sure that, what do I got to do to make sure Canadian Customs doesn't trouble you? They don't give a crap, you know. And a lot of guys I've known with comic book art have had trouble where it's like they just put the full value on it, and they didn't sort of relate to the Canadian government that no, this is being returned to the owner, nothing, you know. Right. Yeah, it's just nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, you know. So. But awesome, man. Listen, hey, this is the end of our show and tell, everybody. I hope you guys all loved it. I certainly had a wonderful time. Jeremy, I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I had a great time.
I'm glad, man. Even though it went super, super long, which I only allowed it to because you said it's okay, keep it going.
That's fine.
Okay. So yeah, everybody, just real quick. I know there's a lot of you have had to leave because it's late, especially on the East Coast. Just let me quickly remind you that for next week is it's a live unboxing, but not for me. Here we go. Check this out. It's original comic art unboxing number 6, but this time it's live with Cesar Alvarez. And Cesar is going to open a bunch of packages that he has, for some inexplicable reason, never opened up. And he's agreed to do it live on the show with me, so we can all vicariously live through him for a couple of hours and enjoy whatever art comes out of those packages. And let me see a lot. Okay, a few of the final comments here. Hold on, geez, you guys. God, there's a lot of final last minute comments. Okay, so. Great episode. Thanks for all the video game art knowledge. Yes, thanks for that as well. Not just for the art, but for the knowledge. Really appreciate that, Jeremy. And for the rest of you in the chat who also contributed knowledge. That's awesome. Jeremy, those are stunning pieces. Sitting on a cornflake. I'm sorry, that's going over my head again. Sorry, Rick. I am the walrus. Why are you making a musical reference? Okay. Waiting for the band to come. What the hell are you guys doing right now to me? Well, that's the real trick, isn't it? As Han Solo said. Okay. Everyone has issues at the border because they have his photo posted there. They very well might. I've had enough trouble. Yeah, I've had enough trouble at the border that they may actually have my photo on file. So
strip search only.
Yeah. No wonder Jeremy only buys from Canadians. There you go. Exactly. Too much trouble otherwise. No wonder not so many great Canadian artists too afraid to leave. Could be. Beautiful stuff, Jeremy. Good night, everyone. Got to get to bed now. Good night. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out for the duration. Really appreciate it. Consumers distributing for life. Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Don't forget your massager.
Yes, don't forget your massager. Exactly.
All watchers.
Yes. To take a dump in the States and bring it back to Canada, oh, would you? That's another inside joke from a long time ago. Night, Dan. Thanks for sharing your knowledge as well. Says Kavi. And also, good show. Thanks for sharing, Jeremy. Good word, Ruben. Thank you, man. Thanks for, thank you for hanging out all night, Kavi. I expected you for a little while, like you said you might. And I expected you to catch the rest later on Rewind. But yeah, man, thanks for not only for hanging out, but also for being very active with the comments, man, and the questions. So really appreciate that. Thank you. Rick says very educational. Thank you, Rick, as always. I appreciate that. And what's it got? Dwayne's a pain. Love the change of theme. Thanks, Jeremy and Ruben. Have a great week all. Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate that. And we're up at Stain. You got this? I don't know why you said that. Now it's killing me. Too many things going over my head now. Sorry, we're up in Stain. But thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you hung out and watched the show, man. One more hour for another inside joke. I don't know, man. I hope Stanley's alive. I don't know whatever happened to Stanley. Thanks, number one Marvel fan. Really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out all night. Finally curated collection in such a short. That's true. We didn't really make much of a. At the beginning, we mentioned it, but we never made much of a deal about it. But yeah, an awesome. And this is, by the way, Rick and everybody else, this is just a small, well, I can't say because I haven't seen the whole collection, but it's a portion of the collection. So, how much bigger would you say it is than what we've shown? We've shown probably 17 or 18 pieces.
We've probably showed 25%, maybe.
Wow, nice, man. Wow, yeah. Okay,
it's not all cover pieces, but
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget everybody to check the check out those links. Join that group if you're interested, the Facebook group, and check out the other links down below in the description. Carl, his 17 unopened packages are up to what, 25? He might have added some more. I'm not sure. Awesome collection. Jeremy says, Pat Bear, how the hell did you never answered my question? How did you stay up? Are you really literally stayed up all night? What is happening? It's 5 a.m. 5 a.m. now. Wow.
Night owl.
I mean, he was here last week, Jeremy, and he was like, "Oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning over here, fellas. I gotta go." Understandably, okay. Have a good night, But you were here all night.
This is new and exciting.
Yeah, I guess so. Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Pat Bear. You love looking at it. I loved having you here. Thank you, man. I loved showing it to you. So yeah, that's sharing with you, everybody. It's been awesome. Great show tonight. Incredibly interesting stuff for sure. Thank you, Carl. Really appreciate you. Great to see your amazing collection. A lot of art I wasn't familiar with, says Rich. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Rich. Give my best to everyone in the studio.
Excellent lessons, gents. Yep. Thank you, CJ, as always. Appreciate it. Stanley wants to know what your favorite movie. Don't even go there. What would you like, Toronto the Wizard with Fred Savage? Okay, that's another inside joke. Never mind. Carl's collection says, by the way, Sonic the Hedgehog piece led to an Eggman reference from Marcus, which led to lyrics from. Oh, that's what the connection was. Oh, okay. Because when I think of Eggman, I think of the Beastie Boys. They had a song called whatever. That's right. I'm the egg. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. But okay. Thanks for letting us know, Carl. Appreciate that. Okay, you finally mentioned it. So 4:15 a.m. Okay, so it is 5 hours right now. Okay. You stayed up to what? Hey, you of all people. Wow. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much, Pat. There. Have a wonderful sleep. Please get some sleep. So yes, that's it. Let me, Jeremy, stay with me for a minute, will you?
You bet.
just another minute. I'll put you in the backstage area, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
Bye, guys. Any power glove part? Okay. So yeah, guys, thank you again very much to those of you, especially those of you who stuck around. Those of you watching on Rewind, I hope you really enjoyed this little bit of a change of pace. I've had a great time, and I hope all of you did too. And I'm going to leave you, of course. Good night, Rich. Appreciate you, bud. Going to leave you all again with the thumbnail for next week's show, just as a reminder. Please tune in because this will be it will be the last planned show of 2023 as well. Okay, because the 2 weeks following fall on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Yeah, so please tune in next week. Would appreciate that. And Carl says, have a great weekend yourself. Sorry, not weekend, week. Have a great work week, everybody. Thank you. But yeah, so please tune in next week at the usual same time, same back channel for original comic art unboxing, but a live one. It's number 6, the 6th episode. Usually they're pre-recorded, but this one will be live with Cesar Alvarez, and yeah, he's got a ton of packages to open, so it should be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, thanks, and until we see you then, peace and go blue.